Hey MVPs, shout out to everybody watching this video. If you guys don't know, I'm going to make this video free, at least the first part. I do podcasts on every single position group, typically charge them, put them up for sale on YouTube, Patreon, all that stuff. But I decided to do the first part for free. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll go in depth as much as I can. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about offensive line groups in this video. I have already done episodes on the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. If you want to learn about every single player in America, please go watch those videos. They're already posted. They've been posted for weeks, if not months. But in this video, I'm going to focus specifically on offensive linemen. Yes, it can be long. It can be daunting because you're talking about a group of players who don't have a lot of stats. You won't hear me quote a lot of PFF. I don't use that as part of my assessment or my analysis. They did their own analysis. They came up with their own scale. I have my own analysis. I do my own scale. That's what it matters here, okay? So you don't use somebody else's analysis to skew the way you view things. That is very important. You guys understand that. I also don't have the standard, sacks allowed, hurries allowed, that kind of deal. I talk about these players from a different perspective. Number one, I assess them on tape. I look at how they're playing and then who they're playing against. And scheme really matters. Fit really matters. Coaching staff really matters. Continuity, things of that nature. I want to talk about the hierarchy of offensive linemen. But before I do, I want to explain to you guys that this video can be pretty long. So please tap your screen, watch it at 1.5 playback speed. You're going to need to. There's going to be some sausage being made. I'm going to drag some screens around. I'm going to talk to you guys about it. But the first thing I want to do, just to get it out there out in the open, is to talk about the top 25. Because I've evaluated every single offensive line group in America, as you can see here on the talent chart over here. And if you've been watching me on TikTok Live, you guys have seen me put everything in my database. So usually I type my database in private. I don't let you guys see it. I have notes on every single player in the starting lineup, in the two deep, in every position group in America. It's what I do. It's why I can advise gamblers on how to make their money. Right? Shout out to all the MVPs. Now, that being said, I used to memorize it all. It's a little difficult to do that. You start doing wave top stuff, and I want to get a little more into the weeds and actually talk about the players. But for this particular episode, I'm going to start with the fun stuff so you guys can watch it, and then we'll go and deep dive every single team. So here's the top 25. If you look here, the number one offensive line group in America is Utah. Now, the way this is done, I need to explain this to you guys. Not all offensive linemen are equivalent. Like, there's 5 offensive linemen at every single team, but they're not all equal. And what I mean by that is coaching staffs understand that your left tackle, the blind side of your offensive line, your left tackle has to be your best player. If you're looking at a depth chart like this, and I have Alabama's up just for example here, you're looking at your left tackle, that's Caden Proctor. That has to be weighted so much more than every other position group. It really does. That is your best player by and large, your best player on the offensive line. Next would be your leader or your center. Your center is very important, typically makes all the calls. Think of them as the middle linebacker, the defense, or the quarterback of the offense. Yes, your center should be making all the calls because they can hear them on both sides. So typically, if your center's a multi-year starter, and the minute you become a starting center, you typically don't lose it. Sometimes you'll be a really good center, and you want to go to the NFL, and centers don't get drafted in the NFL. They really don't. It's very rare. I think there might have been 3 centers drafted last year, so they moved to guard, things like that. So when you see players or coaches, they'll be moving players around. Let's say you sign 3 players from the transfer portal. They can all be left tackles, but they're going to move to guard if they're not 6'5" and above because they don't have the NFL length that you're looking for. They can't deal with edge rushers. So if you're a 6'4", 320-pound tackle and you're a stud, you're moving to guard. That's how it works, right? You're big enough to go in there, anchor down, and handle the defensive tackles, things like that. The least experienced position on most teams is the right tackle. This is mainly because the quarterback is right-handed, and he can see the right tackle spot. He can then adjust. They have a tight end that lines up on the strong side, can chip off on that defensive end, or at least push him out to the 9. Or I don't care what numbers you use. Shout out to defensive coordinators out there. 7-I, Rico 7, 8, 9. Shut up, all you guys. I can't stand you. Yes, I am a former football coach. Yeah, I understand what it is, okay? But nonetheless, this is the offensive line for most teams, and the hierarchy is left tackle's the best, and then we kind of move people around. So when you see a left tackle transfer, and then he moves to a different position, he's going up in competition. If you see a right tackle transfer, and he goes to left tackle, he's probably going down in competition for the most part. Okay, but that being said, we're looking at the number one offensive line group in America. It's Utah. I think Utah is amazing. I would pull up their depth chart right now, but I'm going to do that later in the episode. So I'm just going to skim over this list, okay? First thing I want to tell you, Utah. I'm looking at my notes here. Caleb Lomu. Caleb Lomu, he's a young guy. He's just a stud, white guy. Looks amazing. Looks amazing. I wrote first team Big 12 preseason, NFL draft pick, elite left tackle, 12 starts last year, freshman All-American, one of the very best young players in America. That's how I felt when I watched him, okay? Tanoa, I can't say all their names. TT is in the left, he's in the left guard position. TT's an Idaho kid, started 10 games last year before getting injured. It's his 6th year at Utah. I want you to think about that for a second. 6th year. Been lifting weights for 6 years, for half a decade. You're ready to do this thing. I think I wrote down grown man. Jaron Crump's the starting center. He has played in 47 games, and he started 29 of them, 17 at center. That dude's great. And that's what you're looking for, like a war veteran, a dude that's been at Utah. He's been starting since 2020, since you were wearing masks in COVID. Then they have Michael at right guard. Yep, Power 12 Pac-12 honorable mention back in 2023. Started 7 games last year, missed the rest of the year with an injury. It's his 4th year starting. Once again, another grown man. And then they have an NFL draft pick at right tackle. Spencer Fanu, first team, Big 12 preseason, All-American first team, high 4 stars, all that good stuff. Caps off the best offensive line in America. They have a slam dunk at every position. And they're self-made. Like they've been there the whole time. So continuity matters, right? Coaching staff, that whole thing. When you look at a different offensive line group, Texas A&M, they have not been there the whole time. But Texas A&M has the second best offensive line group in America. Shout out to Mike Elko and his staff for keeping them together. You know, I wrote on Twitter that Texas A&M, and I hope you follow the Twitter. Shout out to RicoKnows TikTok, all one word, RicoKnows TikTok. Shout out to the Twitter. I wrote on there and I said, hey, people don't want to talk about it, but Texas A&M offensive line is so much better than Texas. It's not even comparable. Like they're so much more experienced. They're just battle tested. It's not even comparable. And a guy wrote and he put a picture up of Texas A&M's offensive line last year trying to score at the goal line, and they couldn't against Texas. And he's like, let's talk about lines. Da-da-da. And once again, you're talking about your defensive line at Texas, which is undeniably the best in America, or one of the best. Shout out to Clemson. But what are we doing? Like, it's not, when I compare two offensive line groups, I'm not saying that they don't even face each other, right? You face defensive line groups. So it doesn't even make sense the way people argue about it. They can't handle it. They're embarrassed. Look, if you don't know how this is done, I'll give it to you like this. The Texas offensive linemen, if they were at Texas A&M, they would be on the bench. They wouldn't be starters. That's how it's done. I evaluate talent from that perspective. And if you look at the top offensive line groups, what you'll see here is there's no Ohio State. And it's not by a mistake. And Texas is down here at honorable mention, right below LSU. This is not an accident. I evaluated every single player on the roster. Like, we're good. I have notes on everybody. So A&M, shout out to them. I'm going to talk about Trezon, left tackle, second team, all SEC preseason. If you're second team, all SEC in the preseason, you're an NFL draft pick. Just so you understand that. All right, he was third team last year. He's a 3-year starter, 6'7", 320 pounds, NFL draft pick all day. Chase is in the right or the left guard position, third team all SEC preseason again. Shout out to Don Bosco Prep. Very good high school, good product, 6'6", 330. As a freshman, he started 13 games, 12 at right tackle. Once again, I told you, right tackle, where somebody can start. Once they get a little experience, they can move him to somewhere else. They move Chase to left guard. That's a prime example of it. Mark Nabu Jr. Started 11 games at left guard as a freshman, then moved to center. Once again, you can start at guard. We can hide you. We can help you. We can combo for you. But then you move to center. Now you're running the show. Then they got Reed Adams, second team, preseason All-SEC. Once again, DeSoto product, Kansas transfer. Used to start at Kansas. Started every game last year. Had 15 starts at Kansas. I like the kid a lot. Played 31 games. Super experienced. And then they have Crownover at their right tackle spot. And Crownover 6'7", 340. And unlike other teams, yeah, you heard me right, 6'7", 340. Blocks out the sun. Unlike other teams, Crownover started every single game last year. So he's not just a new guy in the offensive line. They brought back everybody. That's the second best line. We have Clemson third. I'll be pulling up the chart and talking about them. I don't want to go over every single team and all their players. I can just tell you that when I get to them, I'll talk about them in depth. But we have Clemson third. Clemson is my pick to win the national title, guys. I'll keep going, and I'll keep looking at defensive groups and all that, but I really feel good about Clemson. I think their over-under is 9.5. Have a daunting schedule? Yeah. Just take the over and believe in Clemson. That's where I'm at. Alabama, great offensive line. Only one hole there, but they still get a 10. They have 2 NFL draft picks on the line. Florida, returning everybody. Looked like a beast-ass line. They got a 10 as well. Notre Dame, they took a hit. I think Notre Dame has great depth, Obviously, 4th of July weekend, they lost one of their star players. Theoretically, he's one of the star players. He's been injured back-to-back years. So Notre Dame's having to find a replacement, and filling in the hole. I don't think they have an elite caliber player, but by and large, Notre Dame is a pretty good offensive line group. They have to keep recruiting, and they have to keep finding players because people are going to leave. If you're a marginal starter at Notre Dame, somebody's going to pay you. Shout out to Coogan. He went to Indiana. Splendor left. Like, people are going to leave if they're any good, and people are going to value them, and it's unfortunate. Florida State, it's surprising to see them in the top 10 for some teams. I understand you don't believe in Florida State, but I went and watched the tape. And when I looked at Florida State, yeah, they had a terrible year last year. They have addressed their starting lineup as good as anybody else with the transfer portal. It looks real. Florida State's offensive line will be good this year, especially with their game plan. They don't run verticals. They don't run combo routes. They don't do anything deep. This is a UCF offense coming in. They're going to be hitting tight ends in the flats. Oh, by the way, Landon Thomas is pretty amazing. So Thomas Castellanos can't throw deep routes. I've been ripping Thomas all day long for a while now. And then as I've sat down and I've been analyzing the rosters, as you remember, I start with quarterbacks, then I go running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Now I'm on offensive line. I look at Florida State's offense and I go, wait, they're going to win games. They're going to be hard to stop. Just remember that, okay? Oregon, I know it's a down year for Oregon, but it's not in the offensive line. It's the skill positions for Oregon. So I still got a 10 on them on offensive line. They still got some beast up front. Penn State, known goods. Illinois returning 4 starters. Baylor is the team nobody talks about, and I don't understand it. Baylor is probably my favorite in the Big 12. I understand Utah's going to put up crazy numbers on offense, but Baylor looks like an equivalent offense, if you will. Baylor looks really good. They do. I got to check schedules. I got to see who got the luck of the draw on the schedules, but Baylor looks great. Iowa, 2 NFL players on their offensive line, pretty good. Miami, stud at right tackle, right? Francisco is a 5-star. Oh, no, that's his brother. Francis is a 5-star right tackle. Looks very good at Miami. Miami has a good line. If you got a 9.5, there's nothing wrong with this. People are getting mad about the rankings. Bro, these numbers mean you're pretty complete. Anything above 9, you're pretty complete, just so you're aware. Tennessee, 9.5. Some people thought it was a down year. No, they have a true freshman starting at right tackle. I don't care. Tennessee's the real deal. SMU's going nowhere. Trust. Rutgers. It's like a group of war-torn veterans is what I described it as. Like, I went to Rutgers and I found redshirt senior after redshirt. Do you not understand redshirt senior means 5 years, right? And they have nothing but seniors starting for them. And these guys have all been playing big-time football for a long time. Rutgers' offensive line can go to war anywhere. And if you want to know what travels well, it's a run game, right? Bad weather, a run game travels well. On the road, can't hear, delay a game, all this stuff. No, run games travel well. And if you have an offensive line like this and a young running back who can run people over, Rutgers has a recipe to be very difficult. And you might want to believe in Rutgers unders, to game total unders, because they're just going to keep the ball for a while. First downs lead to touchdowns. They're going to chew up some clock. They don't have the greatest passing ability whatsoever and all that stuff, but Rutgers' offensive line is mean. I'm letting you know that now. Auburn fixed their offensive line via the transfer portal, went out and found a stud from Virginia Tech. I'll go over it here shortly. Auburn's right there at 17. Texas Tech, the best offensive line money can buy. They addressed it as best they could. But what I'll tell you is when you have elite offensive line prospects, they don't leave the school. Elite offensive line prospects are developed, recruited, evaluated from high school on, and they've been in your program for 4 or 5 years. When you go and transfer and you find a guy for a 1-year borrow, he's good, but it's just free agency. It's just a Band-Aid. It's not real continuity. So while they found some answers, and they really did, they improved it tremendously, it's not like it's a slam dunk like everybody else. Wisconsin, self-made, self-grown offensive lineman, pretty good stuff. Duke, another example of self-made, self-grown players. I didn't even realize Duke had this good of an offensive line until I was sitting down watching it. And remember, I'm going alphabetical, and it was pretty early on. I'm going A's, B's, C's, D's, and I'm like, yo, this Duke offensive line group is great, and it's really held up, and there they are, 20th in the country. Shout out to Boise. They're at 21. Boise State is not a group of 5 team, at least not talent-wise. Do not compare them to other group of 5 teams. They will be blowing out other teams. Boise State has the most talent of any group of 5 team, and it's not even relatively close. I'm not talking about, oh, they got some good players. No, they got a guy on the offensive line right now. It's a Hall of Famer. Their left tackle right now is a college football Hall of Famer, 2-time All-American. It's going to be a 3-time All-American. Like, that's crazy to me. All right. Indiana addressing their starting lineup with transfers. Shout out to Notre Dame. They got their starting center after some injuries. But it's good for Indiana. I hope they keep it going. Remember, I predicted Indiana would win 11 games last year. When Vegas was telling you 6.5, I was screaming, sell your car and put it all in Indiana. I was right. It's because I assess talent on rosters. I know what I'm doing. Okay, I don't use any other metrics or platforms to help me assess the talent. I do it myself. I'm the source. Right? Where's your source for that? Who said that? Where'd you get that ranking from? Motherfucker, I made it. I am him. What makes you relevant? Accuracy. Shout out to Nebraska at 23. North Carolina. One thing I'll tell you about North Carolina is they have depth on the offensive line. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Number one, you can handle injuries. You can handle the turnover. But what you notice when they sign so many players in the transfer portal, they're all very good players. They're going to be competing with one another. I hope Bill Belichick and staff can identify the best starting five. I hope they can do that. Hopefully they've been doing that at the NFL level for a long time, evaluating the best starting five and putting them on the field, because that's what you need to do to gel well. That's it. They have too many good players that are going to be on the bench, and it's just one of these situations where you want 5 starters who aren't looking over their shoulder if they make a mistake. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, you lose confidence if you make a mistake and coach is going, all right, you're out, so-and-so's in. You can't focus on your task and do your job and go 100%. It's too difficult. And it's unfortunate. It's almost like a 2-quarterback system. You guys know what I'm saying? If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. I say it all the time. If you got 2 quarterbacks going into the starting lineup and you don't know who you're going to pick, you don't have a quarterback. You need one. You need a leader of the team, right? You need one. Offensive lineman, that's a position group where we don't rotate. At least you shouldn't. Now, some players come in different packages, things like that, but offensive linemen don't rotate. No. Quarterbacks don't rotate. Running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, they all rotate. Defensive linemen rotate. Linebackers, safeties, corners, everybody rotates. Offensive line, no. At least they shouldn't, for the most part. They should be getting 800 snaps a season. I'm not even joking. 600 to 800 snaps a season, offensive linemen. Shout out to North Carolina. They have a good problem. They have too many good players. Can't decide who's in the starting lineup. It's hard to evaluate, but good depth. LSU lost a lot of lost a lot of draft picks to the NFL. 4 linemen were drafted in the NFL. 2 were 3-year starters, both tackles. And trying to replace them is going to be difficult, but I think they have really good, talented players. I talked about this on Twitter. If you don't follow Twitter, RicoKnows, TikTok, all one word. One thing I talked about was they brought in transfers who were supposed to be competitive, a multi-year starter and more from Virginia Tech, and another guy who's a multi-year starter. And when you look at it, you're like, wait, these guys aren't even going to start? That means the young bucks, the young kids at LSU are fighting for their position, and they're going to win. And if they do, that's great. Shout out to LSU. You're evaluating talent correctly. You're evaluating offensive linemen correctly. I really like it. I do. When you look at Notre Dame and you're like, okay, who are those senior linemen at Notre Dame? How long have they been there? Who evaluated them and signed them? Was it Kelly? How did they get there? It's another example of just growing your own. Texas is going to have to homegrown their guys. They got some really high-ranked players. They're not quite elite like the other schools. These are all grown men up here. These are all guys who've been starting for 3, 4, 5 years. And these are like just stud young dudes. Stud young guys, South Carolina. Left side of the ball, 2 studs, very young. True freshman starting last year type deal. So, young studs, Washington, love what I saw. Arizona State, love what I saw. All right, not a mistake. No Ohio State, no whatever. Oh, by the way, there is a group of 5 rankings. Let me try to find those real quick. I'll show you a group of 5. These are the rankings. I'll just go over the top 15 real quick, then we'll go into each team and dig a little deeper. Yes, it will get a little dry for you. It is what it is. Boise State, number 1 offensive line, like you see. Tulane, number 2. Yes, they have the best left side of their offensive line of any team in the group of 5. They really do. Their left side is pretty elite. Boise State's the real deal. Wyoming really surprised me because, remember, I'm going alphabetical. Wyoming's the last team I evaluate. They're the very last team I evaluate, meaning I've seen all the other offensive line groups. So when I get there, it's like, you got to impress me. And Wyoming did. They're number 3 overall. South Florida, they went the route and addressed all their needs. They got a bunch of seniors, bunch of dudes that are grown. They just got a Stanford transfer, 5 years at Stanford. Like, they got guys, man. South Florida looks like a great offensive line. The only thing you need to be worried about with South Florida is they play Miami, Florida, and Boise State first 3 weeks of the season. You heard me right. The first 3 weeks of the season, they play Miami, Florida. I said Florida State, Miami, Florida, and Boise State. I think I did say it right the first time. So South Florida's going to be 0-3. South Florida's going to be 0-3 to start the season. Hopefully they don't have too many injuries, but their offensive line is the bee's knees. They're pretty good. So I like those guys. They've been playing a lot of football. UTSA, they lost all their defenders. I'd be hard-pressed I'm telling you, UTSA is a top 5, group of 5 offense in America. Top 5. Obviously, Boise State's number 1. They're right there, man. UTSA has such an amazing team of offensive players. Obviously, I'm going to be evaluating defense for the next month, but I'm on UTSA's offensive line. Looks really good. They have one local kid from San Antonio. You know, it's funny as I go alphabetical, so I go UTEP and then UTSA. UTEP has 2 local kids from El Paso, Mexican kids that are starting at center and guard, and I'm like, oh, these guys don't look very good at all. It's no shade to them. They're starting. Shout out to them. But you go look at UTSA, and they actually have players. Like, they got other dudes. They were able the luxury of finding other players. And it's because when you look at UTEP, where is it located, bro? There's no other cities nearby. They're recruiting right there, and they're getting at those local schools. I lived in El Paso for 3 years. I know what the deal is. And UTSA has a much more fertile recruiting ground, so it's pretty cool stuff. Toledo, sneaky good. Didn't realize it was this good till I got there. Remember, all the MAC teams alphabetically, they all come up really early. And then you get to Toledo and Western Michigan at the end, and Toledo looked great. So there they are. Troy, shout out to my boy Evan Kramer. But Troy, very good offensive line. I think they have 3 guys that are worthy of all conference, and I know they have a true freshman that's making waves. I'll talk about it in the video later on in the podcast. Remember, there's going to be 2 parts. We're going to do the first teams, and then we'll get to the second teams. JMU, known goods. JMU's beast. ODU really surprised me on tape, but I think they're going to do well. Remember, they had a good rushing attack last year. A lot of that has to do with Colton Joseph, but ODU's offensive line's legit. Bowling Green looks great. Liberty, Memphis. Memphis is a very good player on their offensive line, but by and large, they're plug and play. They just went out and found guys that can play at this echelon and this level. Memphis is good. I think Memphis is trying to be a part of the Power 4. You can tell by the caliber of transfers they're getting and the caliber of recruits they're getting. They're just getting a little bit better than all the other group of 5 teams. The problem is with Memphis, they don't win the games that matter. Now, maybe somebody's giving away the plays and all that other stuff, but they just don't win when it matters. I believed in Memphis wholeheartedly, and then they'll lose a game against somebody they shouldn't. That's the reality of life. But they do have some answers in the transfer portal. I believe in Memphis overall, but offensive line, they're a top 15 offensive line. That's really good. Don't think that I'm hating on them. Army, they got a guy at center that shouldn't be at Army, and he committed to stay there. He went to the same high school as Kanye Udo. I'll be talking about him here shortly. Pretty impressive stuff by Army. Just a mauling offensive line that keeps it moving. San Jose State should not surprise you with Ken at coach, former Navy head coach for many, many years. San Jose State's just going to become a weapon. They are. I like San Jose State a lot. I like their players. And then North Texas, honorable mention. All right, let's get into the episode. I'll explain it to you guys, and we'll go from there. Shout out to you guys. I'm going to be pulling up every single team's starting lineup and go over every single player. Please bear with me. I'm going to read my notes. I typically don't read notes. I go off memory, but I don't want to miss anything. And some of these guys have pretty decent things to say about them for the most part. First thing I'll talk about is a service academy. I'm going to go over this very briefly. Service academies, these players are not in the military. A lot of people think they're in the military. They're not. They always call them heroes, and they say all this stuff. They're not in the military. They are students. So when you become a student at a service academy, the first thing you do is you go to a prep school for 1 year. It's kind of like redshirting. The thing is, legally, they're not allowed to redshirt. You'll notice nobody here has a red shirt. Legally, they're not allowed to. This is a school or an academy that is funded by our federal tax dollars. The purpose of this academy is to create officers in the military, not to win football games, not to do all this. No. To create officers in the military. So they only got 4 years to be there, and then they got to roll the hell out. That's a fact. You don't get to stick around. Very rarely will you get an injury waiver. I've seen it, I think, twice in my life. So because of that, all the players will go redshirt first or go to the prep school, and then they'll get in school. Now, when you're in school, you're a freshman and sophomore, you are not committed to the military. You don't need to hear about they're going to serve, they're going to do that. That is not true. The TV is lying to you. TV show, they don't know what they're talking about. Hey, Rico, how do you know that? Dude, I served in the Army over 20 years. I'm a retired first sergeant. Listen to me, okay? Now, after their sophomore year, they have to sign and say on the dotted line and say they will do their service requirement at that point. That is your get off the ship moment right there. After your sophomore year, you can transfer before your junior year. You can transfer and you can go play anywhere. Go to normal school. Go do normal things. Remember, these are FBS caliber teams. You should probably be a coveted transfer at the FCS level. Not other FBS teams are looking for you. Shout out to Kanye Udo, went to Arizona State. Different story. Very good football player. Yes, he was my hidden gem going into last season because he was an underclassman starting at a service academy, which is pretty rare. When you look at these guys, they're going to be senior Latin teams. Now, shout out to the academies. They don't have spring games that you can readily go watch. They don't release their depth charts till right before the season starts, so it's hard to tell how good they're going to be. They're the hardest teams to evaluate across all of America. They really are. It's very difficult to do it. I can tell you this. Grady Kinsey is committed to go to Air Force next year. Grady Kinsey, running back from Ohio. He's the best running back out there, bro. They got themselves a running back. So in a couple years, we're going to see Grady Kinsey in here in the running back room, and he'll be the starting running back. I hope he's an underclassman starting running back. That's how good Grady Kinsey is. Shout out to him. Nonetheless, let's talk about these offensive linemen. Tate up here. If you don't remember Air Force last year, they were terrible to start the season, and then they won 4 games to end the season. They went ham while in conference play. They got everything together. Coach Troy Calhoun, he figured it out. They got the ball rolling, and a lot of it had to do with the left side of this offensive line. Trevor Tate and Alec Falk, Falk's the lone underclassman, which was pretty rare. They both started the last 6 games last year, and they started to dominate, which is pretty good stuff. You have Cooley right there. He is an honorable mention Mountain West center, starting for a while now. Started all the games, did really well, like what he did. On the right side, not a whole lot to talk about. Shout out to Jace. He did start 4 games, but it's just the way it is. You don't get a lot of experience prior to getting on the field at Air Force. They just don't. Underclassmen aren't starting. That doesn't mean these guys are bad. It's just the way it works at Air Force. Right? And speaking of bad, go to Akron. Akron doesn't have a great offensive line. It could be worse. I think I gave it a 2. I'm going to leave it at a 2. This is not a great offensive line. So we'll start with Daryl Johnson. He's a transfer from Western Kentucky. I didn't see him play at Western Kentucky. He didn't see the field even on special teams back in 2023. He was a former JUCO guy. Dodge City Community College. They believe in him. Cool. He was a 3-star coming out of the JUCO ranks. You guys know how I feel about the stars they give certain JUCO players. I just don't believe in it. So it is what it is. Kalen Davis. Kalen Davis is the best offensive lineman on this team. I think he's too good to be at Akron. I'm watching him, and he looks great. He started 11 games last season. He's a Ben Davis product. Shout out to Indiana. I like him a lot. Delvin Morris. I want to learn about this young stud at center. I went and watched his huddle tape. Motherfucker's playing running back. He's a running back and a defensive tackle on his huddle tape. Really good huddle tape. I still have no idea if he can block. I have no film on the guy. Good luck figuring that out. Okay. Allen Jones Jr. Allen Jones Jr., West Alabama kid. Once again, left tackle. Most experienced players on the team, or the best athlete, the one who can handle the best edge rushers, things of that nature. And then you kind of have your right tackle, your least experienced starter. Coaches can just put them there because they can see off on the right-hand side. Your centers will be the leaders of your defense. They'll call it out, things like that. So when you see players move around, you'll hear about them transferring, went from left tackle to right tackle to left tackle. It's just how they're viewed on their current team. It is what it is. I hope he does well. I do want to talk about Dane Shore up there. Dane Shore, the left tackle, back up. Former 4-star, UConn transfer, was an Alabama 4-star coming out of high school. I've never seen him play. He's wasted his entire college career. He's now a senior. He might not. He's just a camp. I bet he won a bunch of reps at camp or something. I don't know what that's about because I've never seen him play. Okay. Colin Lyons coming back from injury right here. He was injured all last year, but he's played some football. A decent depth to have. Not the worst team in the world. Did I talk about Amari Archer? I probably didn't. Let me double check my notes. Oh, ECU transfer. He played in 1 game at ECU, Dodge City, another Dodge City Community College transfer, 6'3", 300 pounds. He was a defensive lineman back in 2022. I'm watching tape. I'm looking for him. Motherfucker had a tackle. All right, so it's crazy. This is a bad offensive line. Not good compared to most of the MAC, if you will. Good luck to Ryan Finley out there. Alabama. They got a perfect 10, like you saw on the score. Caden Proctor is him, been starting since day one. Looks like a grown man, 6'7", 360 pounds. It's nothing to sneeze at. He will be a draft pick. He is great. The only question mark, for the most part, is that left guard position. Cam DeBerry, 6'4", 345. Yes, he can anchor down, handle defensive tackles in the SEC. This is a Texas A&M transfer. Played in 32 games at Texas A&M. He was a freshman All-American. 5 starts as a freshman, then 3 starts in 2023. He regressed when the new coaching staff showed up. He just fell out of favor with the lineup. Didn't ever happen anymore. I'm watching him, and he's getting beat. He's getting beat. He's giving up sacks. I don't have a problem with the transfer. He's good. He's been in the SEC for 5 years, right? And he's been a known starter, been a known guy like this. And you're not going to find a big body like this. Is way better than any recruit you're going to find. And you're not going to find anybody like, but listen, he's replacing Tyler Booker. And replacing Tyler Booker is a hard thing to do. That was a first-round draft pick. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Booker's so good. And here you have Cam Dewberry, who just lost his position at A&M. It's a drop-off. It's not any get better. But Caden Proctor's better, right? And then obviously Parker Brailsford's better. And Parker's a second-team All-American. Started every single game. This is one of the best centers in America, if not the best center. I think he's like fourth. I shouldn't say he's the best. He's like fourth for me when I was looking at tape. Now, you might look at all name teams and stuff, all American teams, and you'll say he's the best one. But when you really watch other teams, there's some other guys out there. But he's pretty good. The only thing is he's a little undersized, but he's all leverage, right? 6'2", 290, and he's all leverage. Shout out to Parker Brailsford. Remember, he transferred over from Washington with the coaching staff. He's the bee's knees. Jaden Roberts, for me, is the best lineman on this team that I like. Best lineman on this team that I like on tape is Jaden Roberts. And I understand Caden Proctor's left tackle. That's the premier position. And nobody's paying guards and no one's talking about guards. But this guy, he's a North Shore product. Been there many years. I like Jaden Roberts. The tape looked clean to me. And then Wilkin Frombrey. Here's what I wrote by Wilkin. 2 starts at right tackle, 6'7", 322. He started in the season opener. And then I didn't see him again. This is last year. So my thing about Wilkin is, once again, you're going to have your most experienced, best guys, and then your least experienced right tackle. Every single offensive line group is typically like that for the most part, unless there's a guy who started to excel at right tackle and he wants to stay there because he's an NFL prospect. But you have to kind of earn your keep to get in the starting lineup, and this is the way you get in on the starting lineup, the right tackle. Quarterbacks are mainly right-handed. They can see the right side of the field, and they can adjust. They can also put a tight end over there, chip, extend the defensive end or the edge rusher. Shout out to the 9 or whatever you guys are doing. But like I said, that's where I'm at on that, okay? Let's see. Who else did I want to talk about? They brought in Arkel, the Ball State transfer, Nigerian kid. He moved to Tennessee, played in 4 games. This is just cheap depth. There are teams that are signing players that are going to be depth pieces, good backups, better than the freshmen, and that's exactly what it is. And you find cheap depth players in the transfer portal at the FCS level. Typically, you'll get an all-conference or FCS All-American, make him a backup, or go get a backup from the MAC, things like that, and that's what they did. Shout out to Alabama, still gave them a perfect 10. App State, you get a 4. App State got kind of gutted by the transfer portal. They don't have what they need, but let's talk about it when you look at it. See, they're trying to find the holes here, and I don't know how they addressed it. So, number 1, Tyreek Poindexter, VMI transfer. It's his final year of eligibility, so this is a grown man transferring in from VMI, 6'5", 320. He's first-team all-conference. He was a preseason all-conference guy back in 2023. So, a multi-year all-conference guy at the FCS level. Congratulations, you're here now. Griffin Scroggs, this is a guy, I'll never forget it. He's a Grayson, Georgia product. Won the state title at Grayson back in the day. And when I went to go watch him play, I was so impressed by the way he played. And then I went and read online. I went and watched him in person. They were playing Collins Hill, Travis Hunter and the boys, when Travis Hunter was a junior. And I went to go watch Grayson, Phil Moffitt, running back. One of the wide receivers was Haynes, Jamal Haynes, the running back at Georgia Tech. He was the slot receiver. Anyways, great team. And I'm watching them. And Kirby Smart said, this is a once-in-a-decade recruit. And he believed it, and he signed with Georgia. And then he went to Georgia and never played again. It was crazy, right? He was a center early on, and he's been moved to guard now, which is fine because they got Will Flowers. But he's just kind of good, but not great. And he probably is a group of 5 player. I think he's a group of 5 offensive lineman, and he's probably better than other group of 5 offensive linemen. He is at left guard. So shout out to Scroggins. I also want to talk about the fact that he went to Buford his first 2 years in high school before he transferred to Grayson, just so you know. Will Flowers, Valdosta State transfer, Division II All-American coming in. So combing the Division II ranks for an All-American is pretty good. Good stuff. The only issue here was that he was at ETSU for 4 years. ETSU for 4 years and didn't start at the FCS level. So he made about 5 starts at ETSU in 2023, but he wasn't like a slam dunk starter. He wasn't a unquestionable starter. So you go down to Division II, become an All-American, then they bring you back up, and I'm like, all the way to Power 4? I'm sorry, Group of 5? I don't know. Jane Ramsey, Right guard. Jaden Ramsey, third team Sunbelt preseason, started the final 7 games last year. I think he's pretty good. One thing that happened last year, these guys didn't allow a lot of sacks. They obviously had Joey Aguilar. Joey Aguilar gets rid of the ball. Doesn't get sacked all that often. A.J. Swan, don't know. A.J. Swan, LSU transfer, Vandy transfer. Don't know to add that much. These guys better do their best to protect them, but they're addressing it, and it's kind of they're addressing it with like off-the-wall transfers. They're not everyday guys that everybody's talking about, right? So here you have a former JUCO guy in Shamar Jackson, right tackle. He's also a New Mexico State transfer. He had 8 starts in New Mexico State last year. 8. New Mexico State had a phenomenal left tackle. He's now at Vandy. And no, where's he at? He's now in the SEC. I don't remember where he's at right now. It'll come to me when I see him. Maybe Kentucky. And then you have this guy here. Shamar Jackson was the starting right tackle in New Mexico State. Good stuff, I guess. Lance Williams, I want to talk about. He's backing up Scroggins here. He looks exactly like Scroggs. Their pictures look the same. He's a Virginia Tech transfer, and he's a young kid and a great future. Obviously, only a sophomore. So, yeah, they're addressing with transfer portal guys. I gave them a 4. If you don't know the scoring system, a 4 is like an average group of 5 team. They're not elite. A 6 on a group of 5 and above is elite. A 4 is just an average team in the offensive line group. And the Power 4 teams, a 7 is average. A 10 is elite, obviously. Arizona, see this right here? Arizona, they're below average in the Power 4 with a 6.75. They're still better than the majority of group of 5 teams, but they're much lower. And I want to talk about Arizona. How did I miss so bad on Arizona last year? If you aren't aware, I was very high on Arizona, and they went 4-8. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Brett Brennan showed up and started coaching Arizona like they were San Jose State and started just getting San Jose State caliber players, making San Jose State caliber decisions. And I'm not talking about good San Jose State. I'm talking about bad San Jose State. So Brent leaves a lot to be desired as a head coach. I think he's on the hot seat. Can't really fire him because they don't have any money in their athletic department to get anyone else. But it's one of those situations where what you have to do is really assess the talent on their team. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's better than group of 5 teams. It's just not comparable to other Power 4 teams. And the way we missed so bad last year, they had all the right players. They had the right quarterback, the right wide receivers. They had the right skill players. Their lines were terrible. Their offense and defensive lines were atrocious. And I had somebody reach out to me and tell me, Rico, you assessed them wrong, man. Their lines aren't good. And I said, nah, you're wrong. I like this team. T-Mac, Noah Fafita, all the Servite boys, Jacob Manu. I like this team. And then I go and watch the games, and they're getting run over. And they can't do anything. And it was the line. So this time, you need to slow down a little bit. And I missed. Guys, I put 10 units on Arizona. 10? I think I put 10 units on Arizona. It's over. And I lost it tremendously. Good thing I hit on everything else. But that's a true story. I missed on it. Bad. All right. So let's talk about their team. Seth Doegie's the new Dagey. Did I say Dagey? Seth Dagey is the new offensive coordinator for Arizona, which is pretty good. He's a Texas Tech kid who used to play quarterback. Remember when they used to throw for like 4,000 yards? Hey, I appreciate the Galaxy there on TikTok. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys. I'm not going over there answering questions because we're recording this episode, but I do appreciate the gift. Thank you to Max Hostetter. They're still trying to figure out their starting 5, though. They bring in Seth Doege. He's a former 4,000-yard throwing quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He's one of those no-huddle, run-and-shoot type of dudes or spread offense, up-tempo guys. If they're going to do that, they're going to need offensive linemen that are in shape and can run around. Now, they lost their starting left tackle. Not left tackle. Was he a guard? Jonah. Jonah went to the NFL, and then Wendell Moe went to Tennessee. So they lost two of their best offensive linemen going from last year. And now we have Michael Wooten. What is wrong with me, bro? Can I talk today? Michael Wooten, an Oregon transfer. Yeah, all recruiting stars. Not sure what that's about. I hope he plays well, and I hope he's out there beating people. The one I'm really interested in is Chubba May there. Chubba May. Shout out to Long Beach Pauly. Used to be a nose tackle. Used to be the nose tackle. I remember when he transferred in, I talked about him. He claims he can run a 5-minute mile. Claims he ran a 5-minute mile in his lifetime. When and where? This is a UC Davis kid. Now they moved him to guard. He can handle the rush, man. He used to be a first-team all-conference lineman in the Moore League. Shout out to Moore. I start laughing because I'm going to give a shout-out to, the southern section of CIF. If you don't know, I'm a Southern California CIF southern section kid. That's where I played ball. So when I start giving them praise, I get all excited. But he did miss most of last season with an injury. So being injured, didn't play well. He's now down to 375 349 pounds. Chubba May is usually 370 pounds, but he's lost 20 pounds. I think you lose another 20. He's a stud. What happened is against Arizona State, leading up to Arizona State, they moved him to the scout team offensive line. And he started playing great. I think he could play center. But it is what it is. Next player I want to talk about is Josh Baker left. That was a 3-year starter. So now they have to bring in this dude with the I name. It's really pronounced Issei. So Issei, and I can't say some of these names. Bro, let me just get this out of the way up front. I'm going to say a lot of names wrong. I'm saying over 800 names in these episodes. I don't give a shit. I look at jersey numbers. So when I watch tape, I'm watching tape by numbers. I just want you to know that. I'm looking for jersey numbers, not names. I don't have fun. And I watch tape on mute. I'm usually playing music. If you watch me on TikTok Live, you know this. I don't even know these kids' names, like how to say them. I'll just say anything close to it. No offense. I don't care. I don't watch games and listen for announcers. I'm the announcer. I provide analysis to the MVPs on the Discord server, on the stage, during every single game. We watch 4 games at a time. I don't have the audio on at all. I don't need to hear what they're saying. Outside of saying their names correctly, I don't need to hear what they're saying because they're not telling me shit I don't know. All right, so shout out to Issei. Another Servite kid, by the way. Issei is a Servite kid. Shout out to them. 2022, he started 8 games at New Mexico as a redshirt freshman. He missed some time due to injury. Finding tape on him is hard because his real name is Shanko Isalua Olamoa Noah Matatataya. Some shit. Shout out to Hawaii. He's a St. Louis native. I can't say everything they're saying over there. It's tough. I went to Hawaii for 9 days. I feel authentic. I feel like a native. Wait, I feel like a local. I don't know what it means. Just give me a loco moco. I'm good, bro. Anyway, so played a lot of football. They tell me his first name is Blaine. This can't be right. Oh, no, I'm talking about DeCambria. DeCambria. They tell me his first name's Blaine. This is crazy. Tristan Bounds. Where's Tristan? I like Tristan. He's a transfer coming in. He's a backup at Michigan. He was supposed to come in and start. Big kid. Should have been starting. Didn't work out for him. So it is what it is. Hopefully he does start. I don't know why he's not starting. Ty Buchanan. Buchanan's a Texas Tech transfer. It's primarily a backup at the tackle spots, but was a redshirt at USC as a freshman. Yes, I wrote that. Isaac Perez, where you at, Isaac? Isaac Perez is on here. Why did I write down Isaac Perez? Oh, there he is. Way down here. Why am I talking about Isaac Perez? 2 seasons at Portland State. Got the start because of injury. He's wasn't a definitive starter at the FCS. This is a depth piece is what I was just trying to say. Jordan Brown is a Georgia Tech transfer, and he never played, and he's here as a senior. Found pieces, but I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it full-heartedly. It looks like they're just putting shit together. Let's go Arizona State. Enough of that. Arizona State. A lot of people high on Arizona State. I get it, man. Kenny Dillingham's the truth. Sam Levitt proved to be great. I think a large part of Arizona State's success last year was a guy named Cam Skattebo rushing for like 1,700 yards. I think a large part of it was Cam Skattebo converting when it's difficult. And when you look at a running back room, Kyson Brown, Kanye Udo, Raleek Brown, who is the X factor here. This is a great running back room. And they need some really good offensive linemen to help push it. Let's see who they got. Okay. Josh Atkins, Hawaii, Houston transfer, started 13 games at Hawaii in 2023. 6th most in the Mountain West. He spent 2 years at Houston, didn't play. Former 3-star kid. Last season's tape is filled with high IQ plays, picking up blitzes, anticipating pass rush moves. Built a big and overweight, and doesn't have the traditional lower half, but he plays smart. These are all my notes. I'm just reading them to you straight verbatim off the board, okay? A big O here, Jamento, coming in from the transfer portal, was a high school teammate at Mansfield Timberview. Never gave up a sack in his high school career. Jamento played 4 games last season to save his red shirt. He started all 13 games for Texas State in 2023. Was at UIW with G.J. Kinney, right, before they moved over. If you don't know, Incarnate Word. Shout out to Texas. And then he was 2022 All-Southland second team, first number 1 offense in the FCS. So, complete studs here. I'm saying that they were high school teammates. Pretty good stuff coming over. You want to come join your buddy. Ben Coleman, first team, all Big 12, preseason. Transfer from Cal. Ben Coleman's him. Started 22 games at Cal. They went and found an answer at center. I don't think he started last year, though, right? Am I correctly here? Yep. He once went 646 days without playing a game. I did the math on that, by the way. Didn't allow a sack last season, 16 in the country. Oh, he didn't allow a sack. My bad. We're here. Bro, I have so many players in my head. It's crazy. Kyle Scott, right guard, senior. Look at that. Senior, graduate, senior. Is a senior Latin offensive line. Everybody's grown. This is how you get in the top 25 offensive line groups. There are no underclassmen in here. These guys have all been in college for at least 5 years. All of them. They've been lifting weights for half a decade. It's incredible. Kyle Scott, 6'5", 330. Played in 2 games in 2023. Then he missed the rest of the year. Former Riverside Community College. Hey. Do you remember when he picked up Cam Scadaboo and he suplexed him into the end zone? Yeah, that happened. He did it. He became a starter at the end of the year. So shout out to Kyle Scott. Big stud. Max, what up, Max? Max starting right tackle, 6'6", 325. Looks like a 4th rounder, but injuries will probably have him in the 7th round. That's what I wrote. Looks like a 4th rounder, NFL draft. Probably going to put him in the 7th round. When he's healthy, he's super talented. Shout out to Elko. Am I saying Eagles Landing Christian? Elko, East Los Angeles. No, Eagles Landing Area Christian. Elko, right? Am I tripping right now? I don't know what I'm writing. And then Xander. Look at Xander coming in, the freshman. Bishop Gorman prospect, coming back closer to home. He was at Nebraska last year, transferred back in. He's good depth, probably a future star. Obviously, he'll be starting after this year. But yeah, senior Latin team at Arizona State, all seniors, they're good to go. Here's something you'll never hear me say. Arkansas has a great position group. Okay, for 3 years now, I've been evaluating teams and players, and when I get to Arkansas, every single time, I just tell you, I don't like the way they evaluate talent. I don't like the way they're addressing things. Hate it. First time ever, I look at this team right now and I go, yo, that offensive line group, they're good. The offensive line's good at Arkansas. I don't know about the rest of these groups, okay? Shout out to Taylor Green. He's a very good guy. They got a good running back in Braylon Russell. Got it. Offensive line group, best group on the team. You see it there, 8.5. Very good, just outside the top 25. So here's what I got. Corey Robinson, Georgia Tech transfer. 7 starts last year. Started the last 7 games, and then he went and cashed in. So you start the last 7 games last year, you go and cash in and get paid by Arkansas. That's exactly what that is. That's a money grab, leaving the ACC, going to the SEC. That's all it is. Fernando Carmona, we don't like Fernando Carmona. He's a dirty player. He's one of the dirtiest players in the world. He's a very terrible person. Very good football player. First team all SEC preseason. They understand he's one of the best guards out there. This is a former San Jose State transfer. Good football player. Terrible person. If you don't know, he assaults players on the field, and he does illegal things on the field. He's just a terrible guy. Caden Kittler, center. Bringing in Caden Kittler. He started 11 games for UCF last year. He started 13 games for Arkansas last year. Who am I talking about? I think I'm talking about Harris. I think I skipped Harris. Harris, 13-game starter. My bad. Caden Kittler started 11 games for UCF last year. So what we're talking about here so far is a guy, and Corey Robinson, senior, started at the end of the year, went and got paid. He's a good player. And if you become the starting left tackle or starting player at Georgia Tech, underneath a great system at Georgia Tech, you're very good. And so you're coming to Arkansas, you can play in the SEC. Carmona, first team all-conference. That's a draft pick. And then Kittler coming in from UCF, former starting center there. Pretty good stuff. Harris is a returning starter from last year. Good player. And then they go and get Shaq McRoy, freshman at Oregon, number 4 high school player coming out. I think he got paid. And what's crazy is that they have him starting over Marcus Dumerville. And if he's starting over Marcus Dumerville, that's pretty good. Because Dumerville started 4 games last year for Maryland, and he's a senior. That's a guy who started his career at LSU. So if you can go out there and you can do like that, that's impressive to me. There's no shame in not being able to start LSU at tackle positions. Obviously, they've had the same starting tackles for the last 3 years on both sides. So Marcus Dumerville is good. He proved that he could start at Maryland. You show up, and a freshman beats you out. Shaq McRoy. If he beats him out, if this is accurate, it's a good thing. That means you have a starter, and if you can keep him there. Now, if Pittman gets fired, everybody's jumping ship and going to get paid by somebody else. But right now, going into the season, Arkansas looks like they have a pretty good offensive line. Shout out to them. Arkansas State. Trying to patch it together. Obviously, their wide receiver room looks really good. Shout out to Corey Rucker. And Harrell coming in. But when you look at this is Jalen Raynor's third year as a starter. I can remember when he was a true freshman, and I started making videos about him before he ever played. I'm like, this is a hidden gem. Nobody's talking about him. Jalen Rayner, Jalen Rayner. And then he goes, bam! And his mom wrote to me on TikTok and was like, I can't believe you found him. And I'm like, yeah! I don't even know the kid. Shout out to him. But let's talk about these offensive linemen. Let me take a drink real quick. Sorry about that. All right. So, first guy you want to talk about is Riley McGahee. And when you talk about this from this perspective, you got to understand something. The starting left tackle on this team was Noah Smith. Noah Smith is a redshirt senior. He's been around for many years. That's the coveted position on this team. They must really, really like Riley McGahee if they move Noah Smith to right tackle. Now, that means he's a young stud that's going to be starting for many years. Very good stuff. It's nice to see it because Noah Smith is a multi-year starter. So that's impressive right there. Just seeing that move right there. Boom! That move made me go, yo! Now, they're starting right tackle. He left to go to Virginia. Got paid like $850K. It is what it is. Will Saxton. Will Saxton transferring in, was a starter at Southern Miss, was on a bad team, but he was decent. And I'm going to talk about Southern Miss at length in the second episode. I know a lot of people are high on Southern Miss, including myself, and I don't want to go off on a soapbox and talk about them when I don't have them on the screen here, because then somebody will miss my assessment on them. But let me just tell you, Southern Miss brought in all these transfers, but they did not address their offensive line. And it's gonna be a very difficult one for me to really believe in Southern Miss like that. I know I have them on my futures list. If you haven't seen it, shout out to the MVPs. It's on Patreon. I have a whole chart of all the futures bets I believe in. I think you can pay for it, or you can just become an MVP and get it. I only have 7 entries on there right now. We're going to have probably like 30 by the end of the month. And Southern Miss, I don't know if they're going to stay on there, just so you know. Nonetheless, Will Saxton coming over from Southern Miss, pretty good player. Mason Myers replacing Jacob Bayer. If you don't remember, Jacob Bayer was the starting center. Jacob Bayer, very good player, NFL caliber, multi-year starter, best player on this team for a long time. Word out of spring is that Myers is getting better, and it doesn't hurt to have a 3-year starting quarterback to help with that continuity or lack thereof, right? Tristan Smith, the right guard. Tristan Smith is a former Trinity Community College guy, so a JUCO guy. I don't know much about him. Couldn't find any tape on him. Don't know much about him. Zuri Madison, red-shirted. Where's Zuri? Oh, I'm talking about Zuri. Why am I talking about Zuri? Oh, because he's his backup? No. I apologize. This should not be happening. I'm on Zuri Madison. Redshirted Arkansas last year. Good get for them. They also have transfers from Tulane, Memphis. Neither got the previous school. Okay, I don't know why I skipped Noah Smith. Must have been very lackluster. I don't know. I apologize. Oh, no, I talked about Noah Smith the whole video. What is wrong with me, bro? Well, Terry said that's why he's not there. I just talked about him the whole time. What is wrong with me, bro? Can I get focused? I know what I was doing. I was trying to save time and didn't need to write about a guy I already talked about. Hey, let's go to Army. That's crazy, dude. That just happened to me. Tough. I need to lock in. Lock in. Lock in. Army, you know they run the ball. They don't do anything else. Harry Appleton. Everything I told you about service academies applies to Army as well. First-year starter, special teams guy. Don't know much about him. Was a state champ in football. Shout out to Billy Ryan High School in Texas. I believe they just go by Ryan. Will Jeffcoat. I don't believe he's related to Jeff Jeffcoat or Jim Jeffcoat. Will Jeffcoat started 2 games in 2022. Super rare because he started games in 2022. Then he played in 12 games. He missed 2023 with an injury. Last season he was back but only played special teams. Looks like a solid left guard. Been around and played a lot of football. That usually doesn't happen. Brady Small, too good to be here. Brady Small, same high school as Kanye Udo. Been a 3-year starter at center. He's the bee's knees, and he's committed to serve in the Army. Pretty cool stuff. Shout out to Brady Small. Thank you for your service. Now that he's a junior, he will be doing this full time. Congratulations. He's a first-team American preseason selection, right? And I say American. The American Athletic Conference, the AAC, they've changed their culture. They've changed their label. They're now just the American. So you're clear, right? So if you're an All-American, no, you're just the American. So he's an American first-team preseason selection. That means the conference, not the world. Then we got Polo G. I don't know if he goes by Polo G. I just give him that name. He's a very good player. 6'1", 300 pounds. First team American preseason. Back, these 2 guys up front. Now, a lot of what they were doing last year had to do with Bryson Daly. Like, there's other issues going on here as far as their running ability. But got to give the offensive line a lot of credit. They were moving bodies out there. Ned Brady. That's a crazy name to have in this day and age. Ned Brady, least experience of all the offensive linemen. but he is the biggest. He is the biggest. I was watching him, and I'm like, yo, this guy's 6'4", 300 pounds. They usually don't have that. So Ned Brady's pretty big. Haven't ever seen him play. He appeared in 3 games last year, 1 in 2023. It's pretty normal, just a special teams kind of guy. Nothing too special. All right, gave Army a 6.25. They have 2 all-conference guys in the middle. It's going to matter. They're going to use them like crazy and run a lot, so I kind of scaled it for them to do that. Auburn, keep your energy up, guys. Keep your energy up. The video is going to be long. You're going to learn about all the offensive linemen. It is what it is. Auburn, they addressed what they needed to address. You look here, Xavier Chaplin's one of the very best transfers out there. This is a former left tackle at Virginia Tech. So getting a marquee left tackle is a big deal, and they got one. He's preseason third-team All-SEC. I want you to think about that for a second. The SEC has 16 teams or something crazy, right? And all of them have a marquee left tackle. Everybody's got a marquee, and he showed up and said, yo, I'm one of them now. And the coaches agreed, and they made him third team. That's pretty awesome. Really like him a lot. Think the world of him. If you watch the live streams on YouTube, if you go to the YouTube, search RicoKnows, go to the homepage. On the live stream, I have the Transfer Portal podcast where I talked about all the best players in the transfer portal. You'll know how I feel about Xavier Chaplin if you watch the Offensive Lineman Transfer Portal podcast. Watch it. It's posted under the live tab. Not videos, live tab. Anyways, third-team All-American in 2023, and everyone else on that team's already in the NFL. If you go back and look at the 2023 All-American team, third team, everybody's in the NFL. He's the only one left. Pretty good stuff. The next guy they have is Dylan Wade. Dylan Wade is a transfer from Tulsa. If you remember, Philip Montgomery was the Tulsa head coach. He moved over to Auburn to be the offense coordinator. He's since been fired. It is what it is. But Dylan Wade showed up with him. Muskrat showed up with him. And Dylan Wade's staying here. Dylan Wade is a stud. Good player. Been playing for a very long time, multi-year starter. He used to be a right tackle. They moved him to left guard. Remember, these are more coveted positions. The right tackle is the least coveted. You don't have to worry about it. That type of deal. Center. One of the best centers in America. You remember what I was telling you about Brailsford at Alabama? Pretty good center. Well, Connor Lew is younger, or he's just a true junior, whatever it is. Connor Lew's real, bro. I put second best center in college football. Could be the first. Third team preseason All-SEC. That's fine. Bee's knees. This is a 4.0 GPA guy. Shout out to Kennesaw Mountain here in Georgia. He was first team All-State. He wrestled. I like him a lot. I'm a little biased. I do live in South Carolina. I have a home in Georgia. I lived in Georgia for the last 10 years. I know every Georgia player coming out. Shout out to GPB Sports. You make it possible. I can watch all the games. gpbsports.org. It's a website. And you can watch the games on Friday night and learn about all the players. And the first time you see stud players from Georgia, they just go all over the country. And you're like, oh, that guy's a Georgia product. That guy's a Georgia. So when you hear me and I'm like, yeah, that guy's from Kennesaw Mountain. Like, I just know, bro. It is what it is, okay? Jeremiah Wright, former defensive tackle in 2020. I'm looking to tape at Jeremiah Wright. I'm going back. He's a defensive tackle. He had some injuries that kept him out in 2021. He missed the entire 2023 season, but he started every single game last season at right guard. So they finally figured it out. He is 6'5", 337 pounds. It's hard to move that man. Remember, he's a former defensive tackle. He's used to plugging A-gaps. Now he's up there going, yo, try to move me, bro. Try to move me. And then they got Mason Murphy. A lot of people are talking crap about Mason Murphy. He's a grad transfer, USC guy. Remember, he started 12 games at USC last year. He played in 39 games, 22 starts total. You might think he played bad. You might go out there and think he played bad at USC. When you compare a starting right tackle with game experience, multiple years, to these other teams who are just putting a first-year guy in there, the right tackle spot is just like a leftover, thrown-out guy. No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I give Auburn a 9.25. They did end up in the top 25 at the beginning of the episode, if you saw that. Shout out to Auburn. Pretty good offensive line. The way they addressed it, the people they have, I like where they're at. Okay, their depth is young, recruited guys. They're growing these guys. If you guys give Hugh Freeze a chance, if you give him a chance, he might be cooking. Speaking of cooking, Ball State was cooked last year. And you see it at 5.5. Remember what I told you. Getting a 6 makes you an elite offensive line group. This is a 5.5 in the group of 5. It's pretty nuts. They were cooked last year due to injuries. Injuries wore them out. But if they don't get the injuries, they can be pretty damn good. So we'll start with Adam Dolan first. Adam Dolan is a senior. He's highlighted, meaning he's a transfer. He's a 3-year starter at Butler. Now, Butler is the Pioneer League. If you didn't know, the Pioneer League is FCS level football, but there's a catch to it, right? there's no football scholarships. You can get FAFSA, you can get student aid, all this other stuff, but there's no football scholarships in the Pioneer League. By and large, the Pioneer League, nobody really respects the majority of the players there. I don't care. You can find players in there. You can find players. They're all private schools. I think Morehead State's the only non-private school in the Pioneer League. Don't quote me. I'm not an FCS football expert. I'm just saying. Like, I know this stuff, right? So when I go watch this kid, he's 6'8", 300 pounds, a local kid, and he's finally going to get his shot. Congratulations, you made it to the MAC. I think it's a good signing. I think when you see an FCS guy that's all conference or multi-year starter, and they try to go be on the bench at an SEC school or a Power 4 school, I think it's stupid. If you want to improve your draft stock, go to a small school like Ball State that needs you. Or you can go get paid your $30,000 and go sit on the bench somewhere. That's cool. I mean, congratulations. It's first and last time you'll ever make money off of football. I get it. So more power to him. Luke Dalton, Cincinnati transfer, 3-star kid coming out of high school. He had a bunch of offers, right? Played in one game last season against Bowling Green, and then he got hurt. And there's going to be a theme to it. Then he got hurt. So Luke Dalton is starter caliber, multi-year starter caliber, and one of those guys that they found, but it is what it is. Cole Mosier. Why do I have Cole Mosier and not Otto? I'm on Cole Mosier. I don't know. Maybe Otto just got signed and I missed it when I was evaluating the teams. Otto could be a late addition. Where's Otto from? Dude, if I don't know your name like that, Otto's from Boston College? I'm going to have to go look. I would have to go look at his tape. But Otto is not on my list. Meaning when I evaluated them, Otto was not on the team. I was looking at Cole Mosier. And I put Cole Mosier. Started one game in 2023 as a redshirt freshman. Missed all of last year with an injury. And it looks like they found a center from Boston College. Probably better than what you got on your roster. That's pretty good. Tristan Cook, where are you at? Am I tripping right now? I don't even see Tristan Cook. He was a starting offensive tackle last year, and now he's not even on the chart. Man, something happened. Oh, no, there's Tristan Cook way over here. Oh, wow. Tristan Cook, they put him at right guard now. This was the starting offensive tackle last season's depth chart. Missed the entire year. Chris Hood started 8 games last year, was a starting left tackle, then moved to right guard as needed, and now he's the starting right tackle. When it comes to MAC offensive line, it's a pretty good offensive line. Dude, Isaac Lucas just showed up out of nowhere. Blake Scriber showed up out of nowhere, because I would have evaluated these guys. All these guys showed up out of nowhere in the last, it took me, a month? Shout out to Ball State. They're figuring things out. I think they're getting good on the offensive line. I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if they're going to win or anything. Eric Weatherly is him. I'll keep saying it. Good offensive line, Eric Weatherly is him. I don't know who's going to throw him the ball, but that dude is him. I promise. All right? My bad on that. I don't know why Ball State didn't look right. Ball State didn't look right. Baylor. And by the way, I'm not an insider with most of these teams. I do talk to people on staff. I do talk to players. I do know the coaches. They all follow me on Twitter, talk to them in the DMs. But I will say that if you have a beat writer who knows the team better than me, congratulations. I'm not trying to prove that I know the team better than anybody. I'm evaluating talent. You can't get that from anyone. I'm evaluating talent and comparing them to all the other players in the world. That's what I do well. So if you're like, Rico, you didn't get that right. This guy's the starter. This guy's I don't give a shit. Like, that stuff doesn't matter to me. Evaluating talent matters to me. All right, let's talk about Baylor. Why am I so high on Baylor? Well, I'll tell you why I'm high on Baylor. Baylor, at one point last year, they were 2-3. They were about to be 2-3. They were losing in a game. I wrote it down here. They were losing in a game against, who was it? Oh, man. I forgot who it was against. I wrote it down in my notes, but it doesn't matter. So they were losing, and Sidney Fugar, this guy, the left tackle here. Remember, coveted position, most important position on the field. Sidney Fugar is a transfer from South Carolina. And when he transferred from South Carolina, everybody immediately told me, oh, that guy sucks. Sidney Fugar was terrible at South Carolina. And I'm like, okay, he sucks. And he's just a depth piece at Baylor, no big deal. And he gets to Baylor, and they put him at guard. And when he goes to guard, he can't start. He's a backup at left guard. He's a backup at guard spots, and he's not even in the starting lineup. And then something crazy happens. They're losing that game. They're going to go 2-3. I forgot who it was against, man. It sucks. I can't remember. But they were losing, and they said, all right, hey, Sidney Fugar, go play left tackle. And he went from left guard to left tackle. It's just an experiment because we're losing the game. It doesn't matter. And the Sidney Fugar effect happened. From that point forward, it was a wrap. He started the next 8 games at left tackle. The offense, and I wrote this in here, they went from averaging 29 points a game to 37 points a game. They went from rushing for 146 yards to 199 yards. And this is while in conference play against the best teams on their schedule. It was incredible to see what, and somebody wrote, well, Rico, that really happened because DeQuan Finn got injured and Sawyer Robinson went in the lineup. No, you idiot. DeQuan Finn only played in 2 games. This happened in week 5 or 6. The Sidney Fugar effect is real. Sidney Fugar is him, and he played amazing at left tackle. So they have a stud at left tackle, and they're playing well behind him. Then you got Ryan at left guard. He started every game at left guard last season. NFL draft pick, IMO. NFL draft pick, IMO, in my opinion. Starting center is Colton Price. Started every game last season at center. He started 19 games in a row. You want to talk about continuity? NFL draft pick, complete stud at left tackle. Started 19 games in a row. They give him poor PFF scores. I said, but I don't care. He doesn't miss a play. He had over 900 snaps, and I counted 5 penalties. Impressive stuff to me. I don't care what any of that stuff is. I don't want to hear nothing. I think he should be all conference. Omar is an all-conference FCS transfer from Montana State. You guys remember, there's Montana State players that are getting drafted. There's Montana State players that people believe in. Omar's one of them. Shout out to him. He started 13 games last year, second team all-conference in the Big 12. He's NFL all day. Once again, complete stud at left tackle, NFL, 19-game starter, NFL. Now we're at right tackle. Usually a depth guy. He's a fringe Power 4 starter. He lost his job to Fugar, kind of, sort of. Poor scores. So, Saraki's the only bad link here. Everybody else is great. And we're used to seeing that. That's okay. Baylor's 9.5 because of it. Shout out to Baylor. I think they're the favorite in the Big 12 along with Utah. As of this point, I still have to evaluate rosters. Speaking of evaluating rosters, you're not going to find any team comparable in the group of 5 to Boise State. I want you guys to see something. Boise State 77.5 total on offense. 77.5. When you go around and you look, that is Auburn at 80. 77.5. That is better than Arkansas. I need you guys to understand 77.5, better than Boston College. Better than BYU. This is why they're in the playoffs. Better than Cincinnati. 77, better than Duke. Florida State. Boise State and Florida State are equivalent in talent. I need you guys to understand the cupboard is not bare at Boise State. They didn't lose anything. Oh, Rico, they lost their running back. I know. Listen to me, man. Trust me, bro. Trust me. All right, let's go talk about Boise State. Boise State, first off, left tackle, Matt Lauder. No, that's tight end. What am I talking about? Matt Lauder's down here. Amazing Matt Lauder, by the way. Cage Casey. Shout out to Cage Casey, future College Football Hall of Famer. PFF scores through the roof. Obviously, your running back helps with that. That's fine. But he started since 2023, was a second-team All-American in 2023. Last season, he was second-team again. He will be a 3-time All-American by the time he's done. He's amazing. Shout out to him. Cage Casey can't be touched. Tyler Sin over here started 8 games last year. Good to get returning production. He's a senior, been around for a long time. I like him a lot. Mason Randolph, back in the starting lineup, was a freshman All-American, started 10 games in 2023. And then he had 8 games at center. He was also 3 games at left guard. But he was injured last year. This is an all-conference caliber center. All-conference caliber center, and he was injured last year. I like where we're at right now, okay? Roger Carrion. Carrion is started 13 games in the last 2 years, 6 last season. So it's a guy with some more returning, starting experience, if you will, kind of similar to left guard and right guard were there. And then Hall Schmidt. Hall Schmidt started 12 games last season. At right tackle, he allowed 1 sack all year. Remember, when you allow 1 sack, it's a pretty big deal if you're a tackle. Pretty big deal if you're a tackle. All in all, you have an amazing left tackle. Getting a 9 score in a group of 5 is insane. But like I said, they have an all-time great over here in Cage Casey. I'm all in on Boise State. I'm all in on Boise State. Going to the playoffs, the whole 9. Don't give a shit what anybody says. I'm all in on Boise State. Boston College. 7.25, just kind of an average room. An average room for a group of 5 team. Jude Bowery right here, starting left tackle. Second team All-ACC preseason, St. Francis product, pretty good player. I would say that a guy like that usually leaves and gets paid. He will next year, I'm sure. He's 6'5", 308, and I think he'll get paid. Logan Taylor, third team ACC preseason, so their left side's pretty dominant. Good stuff. 6'7" at guard is weird on tape for me, but he's a multi-year starter. Back-to-back years, honorable mention in the ACC. The whole left side is studs. So a talented player, a veteran, pretty good stuff. They went out and got a center. Where is Tommy from? Why don't I have Tommy on my list? That's weird. I have Amir Johnson. Did they move Amir Johnson? That just happened. Why is Tommy not on my list? Oh, he's a fucking Ivy Leaguer. That's weird. I had Amir Johnson. So, I want to talk about Amir Johnson. I don't know why we moved him to guard. That's fine. He's a young kid. So, he was the starting left tackle at Merrimack. It's important you guys know that. Starting left tackle at Merrimack. When you go to a school like Merrimack and you're in the FCS and you're the starting left tackle, it means you're the best over there. Now, you move up to the Power 4. You're just depth now. And you're a young kid. So they're going to move you off that left tackle spot. There's no way you're Jude Bowery. So you come over here and now you're a backup right guard. It happens. We have a grown man, Dwayne Alec, as a graduate. That's fine. It's not bad to have people who've been in there 5 years. And then I have Klein. Where's Kevin Klein? I have Kevin Klein, and I just wrote he underwhelms me. I don't know when these guys came into the starting lineup. This must have happened in the last month or so. They update their stuff, but when I look at this is not too encouraging of an offensive line. The left side's great, the rest isn't. And I want to make something very clear when we talk about Ivy League players. First and foremost, I only have tape on FBS players, not FCS. I have every game recorded from the FBS, from either YouTube TV or ESPN Plus. When you start looking at the FCS schools, I can only get huddle tape, highlight tapes, or you can only read about their accolades for a lot of them. Or they might have like practice film on their Twitter. If I go to their Twitter, they'll have something clipped, a 2 or 3 minute clip. It's hard to tell how good an offensive lineman is when they're winning every single rep, as opposed to a game film when they're potentially losing. That's why I have a more refined assessment on certain players and certain groups, because I can watch the entire group. If they're returning starters, I can go back and watch the whole game and see how they did on every rep. It's a little different. So I want to explain something to you guys, though. When you see a player like from Princeton, like Tommy here, Tommy Matheson, I don't know him. I don't know the Ivy League like that. The Ivy League, I can tell you this, it's not that impressive. If you hear a guy was all Ivy League, that means nothing. There's like 8 teams in the Ivy League, and then there'll be all Ivy League first, second, third, fourth team. Like, it's everybody. It's a participation trophy. They only play 10 games a year or 8 games a year, whatever it is. They don't even go to the playoffs. Like, Ivy League is not that special. The smart kids probably got a future selling insurance and shit, but I don't get too excited about a guy being a 3-time all Ivy League, blah, blah, blah. I just don't. Oh, he's this, that. He's a team captain from Yale. I don't give a shit. So it's not a slam dunk for me the way people think. We'll see what happens with Boston College. They're obviously finding gems, and they're hitting up the Ivy League. More power to them. Bowling Green, very good offensive line group for the MAC, for sure. 6.75 is very good. They'll probably be better than most offensive line or defensive lines in front of them. Let's go talk about it. This is Eddie George. This is a big deal for Bowling Green, going out and get Eddie George. So you have Tunde at left tackle right here. Started all 13 games last season at right guard for the first 7. Then he moved to left tackle for the 6. So it's important you guys understand left tackle is the coveted position. They moved him there last year for half a season, and he's still there. He allowed 1 sack. He used to see how it says transfer? He used to be at Rutgers. So this is a Rutgers caliber player moving to the MAC. Couldn't get on the field at Rutgers, got to the MAC, and became a starter. Pretty good stuff. Shout out to him. Yeah, I think he's second team All-MAC preseason. I think so. Those lists just came out while I was doing this. So remember, I was making the chart, and then all the preseason lists came out. So if I'm wrong about something, please let me know. There's also the media, PFF, Sporting News, Phil Still. There's a bunch of different people who make their own preseason lists. So if I'm wrong on somebody, don't get mad at me. It is what it is. Andrew is a transfer. Look at that. Grown man senior transfer. He's a transfer from South Florida. 13 starts at South Florida, 6 in 2024, 7 in 2023. What you need to know about South Florida, that offensive line is elite. So to see a player leave there that was a starter, kind of fell out of favor, not a full-time starter, and he comes over to this team, it's not bad because the offensive line in South Florida is good. It's one of the best in the group of 5. You have to know that to know how to value a transfer from South Florida, for example. You'll be like, oh, he just started half his games at South Florida. Not a big deal. That's like saying somebody started half their games at Alabama and then they transferred to another SEC school. It's like, it is a big deal. It's pretty good. So if you knew the caliber of players at South Florida's offensive line and the people who had to leave, and they can start somewhere else. And that's a prime example of Andrew here. It's a good get for them. Jake Burns, former Cincy transfer, 7 starts last year, was a right guard. He's moving to center this year. Going to be the leader of the defense if you're moving to center. Good stuff. Alex Padgett is an all-conference caliber, was the starting center last year. So they're moving these two. Alex Padgett is an all-conference caliber player, but he's moving to right guard. He's been starting all the games at center in 2023 and 2024. I counted 0 penalties in 9 games, and in a 9-game span is what I wrote, and then two penalties all season. Very good problem to have, but I think there's no weak links here so far, none whatsoever. And then Nate Pabst is the last one. Nate Pabst started all games at right guard in 2023. So he was a right guard, moving to tackle. Hopefully he can handle the length, things like that. 11 games at right guard in 2024 as well. He's another all-conference caliber player. So this is just a great offensive line group. As a matter of fact, I've already published the top 25 and all that, but I feel like this is a 7 caliber offensive line group. So I moved it up to 7 just in front of you. It's not going to be like that on any of the charts except for my own. I like it that much. Let's go to Buffalo. Buffalo, by and large, is the best offensive line group for me in the MAC, and the scores are the same. But what I like about Buffalo is the continuity, right? They've been there together. They're not transfers, and Buffalo runs the ball a lot. They know what they're doing. They have a 1,000-yard rusher returning, Al-J. Henderson, so they're going to rely on these guys to do their thing. All right, so the first guy is Henry Tabansi. I can't say, bro. I'm looking at the ceiling right now. There's nothing up there. I promise you. He started all 13 games last season as a redshirt freshman. Redshirt freshman starting left tackle. That's elite, guys. He's the real deal. Shout out to him. Trevor Brock is the left guard, senior transfer, former Iowa Western transfer. He's a first-team All-American JUCO guy. He's a preseason first-team All-MAC guy. So they saw him, showed up, and he just started beating people up. He's too aggressive. Last year, he was third-team All-MAC at the end of the season. This year, he's first-team preseason. That's a 1-2 punch on the left side. That's, to me, they're just talented guys. It's not so much that they're returning starters like other teams. Returning production is cool. What if you suck and you're returning? That doesn't matter. No, these guys are talented. They're pretty good. Jake Tim coming into the transfer portal. He's a graduate transfer. He's already second-team All-MAC preseason. This is a starting center from Long Island University. He's an FCS All-Conference guy. He's big for a center. So I had no tape on him. I went to go find it, and I'm watching him. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. Typically, centers aren't always that big. He's big for a center, and especially in the MAC. I think he's going to do well, so I'm excited for him. The next guy is Tyler Doty. Tyler Doty, first-team All-MAC preseason. I wrote best offensive lineman on the team, a multi-year starter, All-MAC third team last year, but that is the best offensive lineman on the team. Once again, talented as hell. Preseason first, a multi-year starter coming over from the FCS, and then we have Arena at right tackle. Gabriel Arena, talented, room to grow, slim to his frame. This is a Virginia Tech transfer, redshirted at Virginia Tech. He was a backup last season. So once again, the best player is always at left tackle, and then we have the right tackle is always somebody that can fill in and we can help him out, but it's not the end of the world. Very good team, very good offensive line. Shout out to the Buffalo Bulls. BYU. 7.25. Just an average offensive line in the group of 5. I'm not too sold on BYU for the most part. Isaiah Jatta starting here. One thing you need to know about BYU's offensive line, they lost 3 starters to graduation. Okay, Connor Pay had 51 games, 41 starts. Like, you're losing real people. So you have Isaiah Jatta come in. Yes, he's a senior. I've seen a lot of Isaiah Jatta over the years. This is a former Snow JUCO guy. He was at Colorado when the line was terrible. Yeah, he was one of those guys trying to be there. He was a backup all last season. Then an injury to Brady Klein happened. I remember this now. And let him play in the Utah game. He started the next 2 games. Then he got injured and he was out for the rest of the year. I guess he had a great spring because now he's in the starting lineup. Nothing I saw from him warrants him being a starter at any FBS school, but here he is. So more power to him. He's starting What did I write? He's starting. Push Gentry and Farco. Where were we at, bro? Oh, yeah. He pushed Gentry to right tackle. Cool. Congratulations. Oh, and Kyle. Well, Kyle's going to be starting at right guard, apparently. I didn't know that. I just knew that Jadam being this starter pushes Gentry over here. Cool. Wayland's a co-captain. Wayland's the real deal. Third team all-conference, Utah State transfer, started 13 games as a true freshman at Utah State. So he's just been starting everywhere he goes from day one, and it doesn't matter what he does. He started every single game he's ever played. 13 at Utah State, then moved over to BYU. Remember, when you miss on a recruit in the state of Utah, they go to Utah State. They prove they can play, and then BYU will snatch them back. That's what happens if you watch the transfer portal and you pay attention. And all these players want to play for them, right? McKay Hillstead, prime example. Seriously, prime example of the same thing that I just talked about. Same thing happened with Wayland, but Wayland's him. Wayland's pretty good. Bruce Mitchell at center. Shout out to Coach Woods. He's offensive line coach. I wrote 7 to 8 guys on this team can play on Saturdays. That's what I wrote. 7 to 8 guys can play on Saturdays. I don't know why I wrote that. I'm still trying to figure that out some days. We have Kyle. He started 9 games at Southern Utah. Picked BYU over Cal. So he's a 3-year starter at Southern Utah. Has never allowed a sack in his career. He's elite at pass protection. I like his pass protection. Gentry, 2 starts at Michigan. His brother JT played at BYU. Dad played basketball at BYU. Number 1 player from Colorado after being a 4-year starter and a 4-star out of Columbine. So Gentry went to Michigan, couldn't get on the field at Michigan for the most part. He transferred back to Utah or back this way, and he'll start for a couple years, theoretically. Austin. Where's Austin? I got Austin as a singer here. Austin, he's married with 2 daughters. He did his mission in 2017 and 2019. This means he graduated high school in 2016. Austin is one of the oldest players you'll ever see in college football. That's what I wrote. That's hilarious. I just wanted to share that fun fact with you guys. It doesn't look good for BYU. The offensive line doesn't look great, and it's not going to be the same magic as last year. It's not. Shout out to BYU. Went 10-2. I don't see it again. Cal's had a terrible offensive line for a while now. And they're trying to fix it again with the transfer portal. And you see it. It's a 6.25. It's a group of 5 offensive line. It's not a power 4 offensive line. Nick Morrow's here, started every single game last season until an injury forced him out, right, for the final 2. But he's the real deal. He's also 6'8", 315 pounds. His huddle tape was tight end and defensive end. He gray shirted back in 2022. If you don't know what gray shirting is, go find it, bro. I've talked about it in many videos. Tyson Ruffins, Long Beach Poly product, was at Nevada. 9 starts last season at Nevada. Harley, 8 starts, 13 games played. At Jacksonville State, allowed 2 sacks. These are super rare for centers to allow sacks, so especially in the Conference USA. So I didn't like it. I didn't like Davion Harley giving up sacks in Conference USA at center. That's not good. Especially when you have a running quarterback at Jacksonville State that wasn't getting sacked a lot. So I just don't like it, especially moving up like that. It doesn't work for me. Jordan, right guard, is huge on tape. He's 6'5", 335 pounds from Australia. He started 10 games at Charlotte. He spent 3 years at A&M, started 3 games, former JUCO number 1 player. So shout out to Jordan. Looks like a big body dude they can put up there. Then Braden Miller, Michigan State transfer. Older brother Barrett Miller transferred to Cal in 2023 after 4 seasons at Harvard. He played in 6 games off the bench. Braden Miller's just coming over here. I heard you guys do nice things for my brother. It'll work for me. I do want to talk about Lamar Robinson just because I think the starting center position, I wasn't impressed with Harley, so I wrote Lamar Robinson. Started every game for Georgia State last season. I think Lamar Robinson should be the starting center. You heard me. He might be losing the battle or whatever, but I've watched this guy lose in games. And this guy right here, probably better in my assessment. So that's how I feel about it. Central Michigan. Central Michigan doesn't look good, guys. And I'm talking about, and I know this is going to go long. I might have to break this up into 3 episodes. We're going to cap these at 2 hours each is what I'll do. So we'll talk for another 30 minutes, then we'll just make another episode. How about that? Central Michigan. We're going to talk about Central Michigan. You see their scores. One of the lowest scores you'll see in all of America. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the FBS, period. All right. So shout out to their new head coach, Matt Drinkall. Matt Drinkall has his work cut out for him. He's a former Army offensive line coach. Okay. He was once a head coach at Kansas Wesleyan, and he was a very good head coach at Kansas Wesleyan. But this doesn't look like a good offensive line. It doesn't. So let's talk about it. Jacob Russell, Valpo, redshirt freshman, started 11 games last year at left tackle at Valparaiso. So you start at left tackle, the coveted position. You look great at Valparaiso, which is probably good, 6'4", 300 pounds or so. And now you transfer to the MAC. Congratulations. Good luck. I can't say you're a slam dunk by any means. John Anunzi, I hope I'm saying it right, Anunzi. He's a Columbia transfer. It's an Ivy League school thing, but he is big. He's 6'4", 315 pounds. He looks grown, 10 starts at Columbia, multi-year starter. Center, Ryan Blum. Basha, shout out to Arizona if you don't know. A Basha high school product out of Chandler, Arizona. Twitter name is 51_pancakes. He's 6'1", 300 pounds. He was a backup center last year. They tried to find an answer in the transfer portal, but it looks like he won the competition battle. They tried to bring in a Pisa something. A Pisa's a JUCO guy. He's not FBS caliber by my assessment after watching his tape. I did not think he was good, and Ryan Blum's going to start over him, period. Brady started 12 games last year, multi-year starter, very good player. Shout out to Brady. And then Martin Cavistio or whatever, 6'7", 305 pounds, 5 starts at center. And when I watched the tape, he started 5. The school website said he started 4 games, but I went and watched tape, and I found him starting in 5 games. Shout out to school websites for not ever being accurate. I'll tell you, some of these schools, their websites suck for information, and then you go watch the tape, and you're like, oh, you're wrong. Oh, you're wrong. I'm RicoKnows. It is what it is. Not a great offensive line group. It's a 3, but they're missing other pieces, bro. I don't believe in them at all. Charlotte! I believe in Charlotte, y'all. I believe in Charlotte in a different way. I believe in Tim Albin, and he brought over his entire staff. What a great coaching staff and what they do and how they evaluate and develop players. Yes, the cupboard wasn't bare. The cupboard's not bare, and they got a lot of pieces to try to figure out. But I think they're pretty good, man. I think they're a pretty good squad. Now the offensive line needs some work. They had to figure it out. So Tyler Gibson should be the starting left tackle. Yep, he's a Georgia Tech transfer. He redshirted. He's never played. He was a high 4-star guy coming out of high school. Sometimes you can get these Georgia Tech guys, these Power 4 guys to transfer down, and eventually when they become starters like this, they could be the bee's knees. So this could be a good pick. We'll find out. Mo Clipper, Tennessee transfer from Milton. Shout out to my Milton High School, 7A, 6A, whatever they call it now in Georgia. It used to be a 7A thing. Shout out to Milton. He was a high 4-star out of high school as well. He famously took part in the Under Armour camp, and he didn't lose a single rep at Under Armour camp. If you don't know, find it on the internet. It's pretty cool. Then there's Johnny King there. He's a center. Johnny King, second team American preseason. He's been starting center for the last 3 years. He initially went into the transfer portal. He got offered by NC State, and then he came back, if I remember correctly. Shout out to Johnny King. So you got 2 4-star guys, and then you have an actual guy at center who actually plays football and is good. So pretty good to have. I think Albin knows what to do. If you remember those teams at Ohio, if you didn't know where Tim Albin's from, I should probably say that. I just assume everybody knows. So the head coach at Charlotte, he just moved over from Ohio after they were winning MAC championships and being competitive. And if you know Ohio's identity on offense, we're talking about Say Bangora, Parker Navarro, these guys that can just show up and run things over. You know, the starting quarterback at Indiana last year? Yeah, it was Rourke. He's from Ohio. He's a transfer from Ohio. Like, Ohio's had so many good players, and it's all Tim Albin and his staff, evaluating players, developing them, picking them out. So just remember that when you're looking at some of these players that they're signing or they're bringing in the transfer portal, they've evaluated them correctly. Okay, next guy is Devin Davis, Collins Hill. Shout out to Travis Hunter. Collins Hill in Georgia, another product. He played with Travis Hunter in high school. He's a JUCO transfer from Butler Community College. He had an Ohio offer. And then when Tim Albin moved, he moved over to Charlotte to be with them. So that's one of their recruits they brought over from the transfer portal. They were going to get him at Ohio. They brought him over to Charlotte. Good get. Shout out to Devin Davis. I think people have been sleeping on him for a while there. Mason Bowers at right tackle. Mason Bowers, 6-year senior, transfer from Kennesaw State, but was also at Coastal Carolina. He was a 3-star out of high school as a defensive tackle. I like him a lot. You see how they have backups that are highlighted, those transfers? They're going to have competition at positions. I wrote Andrew Adair. Andrew Adair is the younger brother. Connor is on the team as well. He's a JMU transfer. Andrew was also at Liberty. He was only there for 1 month before he hit in the transfer portal, but he's a St. Francis Academy alumni. You remember all the St. Francis guys went to Charlotte? Yeah, he's one of those guys. So they all came over from St. Francis. I actually like him. Boston Brinkley, IV caliber, 4.65 GPA out of high school. Probably doesn't belong at the FBS level. Where is Brinkley? I don't know. Oh, there he is, Boston Brinkley. Like I said, when I did these teams, they probably added more names since I did them. That's how long ago it was. Omarion Davis, JUCO transfer from Iowa Western. He's a backup right now to Clipper. It's fine. Dallas Shirley, Newberry Division II All-Conference second team. So I wrote a note on him. I like him a lot. Good depth, cheap depth. You can go to Division II, get an All-Conference guy. He'll be your backup. It's good, cheap depth. Eli Samples, former ECU guy, but transfers from a JUCO. He's a D1 bounce back. So shout out to Eli Samples for making it back to the D1 ranks. Not going to start this year. All in all, Charlotte, just a little bit less than the average group of 5 team. Could put something together if those 4 stars come to fruition. You could see Charlotte's offensive line be moved up to a 4 or 4.25 during the season. It can happen. Cincy, just an average offensive line group this year. Not like last year where I really believed in their offensive line. This year they're average. But I will say this. If you watch the picture of Sorsby, Brendan Sorsby just posted a before and after picture from this offseason. They've all been lifting weights. They got a new strength and conditioning program or something going on. They've been lifting the shit out of weights, and they look pretty good. So more power to them. Let's talk about Xavier Lozawicki. Xavier Lozawicki, 4 games last year, redshirted. 1 season at Maine, 1 start, 5 games played. Former IMG guy. You know I don't like them IMG dudes, but he's young, and hopefully he can do his thing. Okay? Joe Cotton is the backup. They brought in Joe Cotton, 3 seasons at South Dakota, 2 All-League honors, freshman All-American. He started 27 games at left tackle over the last 2 years. I think Joe Cotton should be the starter. Could be wrong, but it just looks like a guy who's about that life. Evan at left guard. Evan hasn't started any games. He's a 4-star recruit, was a backup last season. Good luck with that. When you see a 4-star guy who hasn't started any games, but now he's in the starting lineup as a sophomore, that's a great thing. It means he'll be a multi-year starter when he's done. But this year, that means you're a 7. Just so you know how it works in the Power 4 for me, for the most part. Judea Millen. Where's Judea Millen? Oh, the backup. Yeah, because he's a senior. That's why I did him. He's a senior JUCO kid who was injured last year and hasn't played. So we got no answers at left guard right now that have ever played. Gavin Gerhardt, 2-time team captain, 36 starts, all-conference caliber center. All-conference caliber center. Good thing to have. He can lead the whole crew, get them out there doing their thing. Taron Tayo, 3rd-team All-MAC from Ball State. Started 12 games at right guard in 2023. Think he's pretty good. Coming in. Think he can play. It's a MAC guy trying to step up and do his thing. DeAndre Buford, multi-year starter. Kentucky transfer. Nothing to sneeze at there. And then there's Nolan. Where's Nolan? Nolan's his backup. Yeah, just good depth. Started 27 games at Albany. Another cheap depth guy. 1st team freshman All-American back in 2023. So another guy, you just go and get some pieces that are just cheaper depth guys that weren't going to press the starters. The only guy that I see back here that should start is Joe Cotton. Either way, I don't see them going above 7.5. Clemson, perfect 10. Clemson, perfect 10 on the offensive line. This is my pick to win the national title. By the way, if you aren't aware, what does Rico know? I've picked the correct national title 3 years in a row now. I picked Michigan in the preseason before they won their national title. I picked Ohio State last year, and then this year I'm picking Clemson. You guys will say, like, so what? What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you have all these teams to choose from. Like, everybody knew Ohio State was going to win last year. Really? Well, who'd you pick? Some of you picked Alabama. Some of you picked Texas, Georgia. Like, who'd you pick? I know who I picked. And I put it out there in 4K for the world to see. Just so you know, I'm on Clemson. All right, Tristan Lay here. Am I saying it right? Tristan Lay? He's a graduate, left tackle, former 5-star. He has over 1,500 snaps played in his career, 23 starts. Grown man, should be in the NFL right now. This is a former Virginia High School Player of the Year. I want you to know that Darius Gray is about to commit on the 22nd of August. Darius Gray is the best interior offensive lineman I've seen in America. Darius Gray is a 4-star coming out of high school. I don't care. So there's nobody better than him. He's a 5-star. So Darius Gray is cut from the same cloth as this guy. Shout out to him. By the way, Tristan's father played running back at Virginia back in the day. But I think he's incredible. If you go watch his tape. Harris Sewell, left guard. Listen up. Played over 1,000 snaps, 8 starts, 22 games played. At the end of his freshman year, was a starter for the final month. He split time with Marcus Tate last season. Yeah, this is a good thing to have. Good thing to have here. Over 1,000 starts. Ryan Lithicum, returning starter, 982 snaps, 14 starts, all conference caliber. Right guard, Walker Parks, preseason third team, all ACC, 2,500 snaps played. 2,500. That's not a typo or nothing. Freshman All-American back in 2022. He has 42 starts. He lost 2 years to injury, but he's legit. It is his 6th year. 6th year. He's going to be a 6-year letterman. Some shit like that. It's crazy. I don't know how eligibility works in the NCAA anymore. I don't know what's going on, but we got a grown man at right guard. And then we have Blake Miller. Save the best for last. Blake Miller is the best right tackle in all of college football. You heard me right. Best right tackle in all of college football is Blake Miller. He has almost 3,000 snaps played. It's 2,893. It's going to be insane. I think he's breaking the school record. He's got 41 starts at Clemson. He has started every single game since 2022. He is first team. He's never redshirted. He is everything. Blake Miller's him. What a great offensive line for Clemson. The right side is a problem for people. All right, Coastal Carolina. Coastal. Nick Del Grande, second team All Sun Belt preseason. Started 12 games. Just an athletic guy. I like him a lot. Okay. Heston Edwards was a Division II defensive lineman. Transition offensive lineman. Made 7 starts in 2023. Played in every game last season. Thomas Johnson. Yeah, Thomas Johnson, multi-year starter. 14 Sun Belt preseason. So you got a multi-year starter. This line is good. You see this 5.75? This came out of nowhere. I did not expect this. Okay, just so we're aware. Andrew Walton, redshirt senior, returning starter. Joseph Hansen, returning starter. Starter. You guys hear what I'm saying? This is crazy. What am I doing? Let's do it like that. Coastal Carolina has a good offensive line. Now, do they have the greatest coach in the world? No. Not the greatest coach in the world in Tim Beck, but I hope they figure it out. Offensive line's legit. Shout out to Coastal. Colorado. Colorado's best position group is their offensive line. What a swing. What a difference a year makes. Shout out to them. They have a bona fide Power 4 starting offensive line in Colorado. They do. Jordan Seaton, starter from day one. Probably the most talented guy on the line. He's been starting. He's a freshman All-American. First team All-Conference in the preseason for the Big 12. Pretty good stuff. I like him. Xavier Hill coming in. Xavier Hill was a first-team All-Conference in the American. Played at Memphis. This is a transfer coming in. Pretty good stuff. I like it a lot. So, shout out to him. I believe Xavier Hill started his career at LSU, by the way. Just so you know. Zarin McGill, transfer from La Tech. He was a former JUCO guy. Spent 2 years at ULM, then last year at La Tech. He was second-team All-Sun Belt. Second-team All-Conference. Now, remember, you're an All-Conference guy in the MAC, Sun Belt, American, Conference USA. You're not a slam dunk at the Power 4 level, but I think he's pretty good. I do. The guys that I'm most impressed with are these bottom 2 guys. Well, really, Zylan Chrysler impresses me a lot. So 30 starts while at Illinois. I think he's a high-quality transfer. He's 6'7", 340. I think he's the best player on this team. Now, I understand. I just told you, Jordan Seaton's at the premier position, former 5-star, first-team All-Conference. I got all that. I just like the way Zy carries himself. So Zy Chrysler, for me, I think he's a good player. And that really raised my opinion on the Colorado offensive line. I think it's pretty good. So giving them an 8 because of it, okay? I have Mana, former JUCO Ole Miss transfer, 1 year left, 2 seasons at Ole Miss, never was a starter, special teams guy. I would move, and this is what I wrote, I would move Aki, Ogbe, this dude right here, Aki, he's a Texas A&M transfer. I would move him to be the starting right guard, and I would move Zy Chrysler to play right tackle. That's what I would do. I would move Aki in the starting lineup, Chrysler down to be the starting right tackle because he's 6'7", 340. But I'm sure he wants to be an NFL guard. But it's just one of those things where what the team needs best, this young man over here needs to be in the starting lineup. That's what I think with Colorado. That was my assessment on it. Remember, coaches don't know best. Some coaches make poor decisions and get fired. I'll still be here. Colorado State. This William Workman dude, he's worth talking about. His name is Witt. Shout out to him. William Worthman started 35 games for Division II Central Missouri. Like him a lot. Second team all-conference twice. 6'3", 300 pounds. He looks short for a left tackle because 6'3" is short for a left tackle. But, man, does he move great. He looks super athletic. I think he's in control of all his weapons. He's not lumbering. He's not kind of pulling. He's kicking people out on the opposite side of the field. You know how you pull guards? So there's flat pulls and skip pulls. I want to explain this to you guys. When you see a guard pulling, if he runs down the line of scrimmage and he turns his shoulders and he's looking to ear hole that defensive end and he's going to kick him out, that is a what the hell? A flat pull. You're going flat down the line of scrimmage, and you're going to flatten them out, right? Kick them out. It's cool. A skip pull is when your chest stays square with the line of scrimmage. So now you're a guard, and you're pulling, and when you pull, you're not doing the kick out. You're getting upfield, and you're getting ready to seal one of the linebackers, right? You can get up on the second level and do it. Skip pull, flat pull. This man's doing both from the left tackle spot to the opposite side. Guards are doing that. Usually you leave your left tackle to do a backside cutoff, things of that nature. Not here, bro. Shout out to William Wortman. Looks like a beast. I thought he was very athletic. And to see him coming up from Division II to be the starting left tackle at Colorado State's insane. Good luck, man. I hope it works out because he looks athletic. He looks good. Tanner Morley, 6'7", 315. Big ass dude. He's developing into a starter. I like what I see from him. Young kid. Traven Hill, originally a transfer from Nevada, played in 5 games, 0 starts. 2020 recruit, was a linebacker in high school. He's now the starting center. I don't know how I feel about that. Dog, if you're a linebacker back in high school, special teams, 0 starts. Out of this name here, dude, you got nothing for me, bro. Number 79, 0 starts, all special teams. And then Karras started every game last season, all Mountain West. Honorable mention. Good. Question mark, huge, good. So the tackles are good. BFN, drop back to pass, figure it out, bro. They get a little bit above average, but not much. Duke, talk about way above average. Duke's offensive line group impressed me. I already told you guys this. I gave it a 9.25. It's the real deal. Bruno Fina coming over from UCLA. He's a transfer. 25 starts. He's a multi-year starter. He started games at UCLA too. Bruno Fina is the real deal. You just got to trust him. He's a veteran. A veteran at left tackle. He's been out there. He's crafty. He knows what he's up against in the ACC. I like Bruno Fina a lot. Jordan Larson, 13 starts at South Dakota. That's one of those Missouri Valley guys from the FCS. You trust him, you go and grab him. Matt Craycroft, starting center, returning starter. I thought his tape was elite, over 1,000 snaps. I could see him being an all-conference guy. With the success of this offensive line, you could then go out and say, oh, it's Craycroft. I can see him being at least an honorable mention all-conference guy. Shout out to him. Justin Pickett, team captain, 21 starts, multi-year starter, 35 games, over 1,500 snaps. Second in the nation in fewest allowed sacks. I believe that's Duke as a team, not him as a player. It could be him as a player. Could be. Justin Pickett is him. So we're just looking at a team that just has, there's no scrubs anywhere. Jordan Larson's the only question mark, and he came in from South Dakota. Because then they end with Brian Parker. Brian Parker is third-team All-American, second-team All-ACC, best on the team. 7 starts as a redshirt freshman. First team, preseason, All-ACC, Brian Parker. So this guy's been starting since he was a freshman. So, Duke's got an amazing offensive line. Only question mark is a starter from South Dakota, who we know, if you don't know, the Missouri Valley Conference, Ohio Conference, whatever the fuck they're called, the North Dakota State, South Dakota State, the Bison, the Jackrabbits, and then you have South Dakota up there. All those teams have amazing linemen. And you got one, and you got a stud. I think the rest of these guys are all amazing. I hate to keep using the word amazing. I got to find a different word. All these guys are elite. Shout out to Duke. They have a great offensive line. Top 25 for sure in the country. For sure. Then I go to ECU, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this shit. Oh, man, I don't want to watch this. They lost their starting left tackle, Parker Moore. He was an all-conference caliber guy. Their center, Dustin Hall, and guard Hampton. what was Hampton Urgile's name? Yeah, they lost all three of those guys. So now they got to go with it. They got Jamarion McCrimmon. Looks all conference caliber, and he's the best offensive lineman on the team. Second team American in the preseason. I think McCrimmon can play. I think he can transfer after this season. I really do. He only had 7 starts last year. As young as he is, as good as he is, I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit the transfer portal going into next season. Kyle Long, he's a Maryland transfer. 6 starts in 2023, but he fell out of favor. No starts last year. He is big, 6'6", 328. Darius Bell, starting center, transfer from Maine, multi-year starter over there. He didn't play last year, and I'm not sure why. I looked everywhere, and I can't figure out why. So, all in all, looking pretty decent on the left-hand side. Kind of. And then we have Poku over here. Poku, not much to see, but he's huge. 6'6", 326, couldn't find any tape. Not much tape. And then you have Cooper at the bottom, Division II transfer, Newberry, another Newberry guy. Couldn't find any tape on him, but he's a multi-year starter, all conference last season. He had a ton of Group of 5 offers. It's a good get for ECU to get. So either way, it just doesn't feel there's too many. There's 2 question marks in the middle. I should probably move it up. And this is why we do the episodes. I should probably move it up to 4, an even 4 for ECU. It's important. All right. EMU, Creighton's known to being a good offensive line coach. Shout out to Coach Chris Creighton here. He's known for being a good offensive line coach. He really has. But let's see what we got. EMU. Are we starting with Mikey? Oh, we got Mac. Mac started 5 games last year. That's all I wrote. He started 5 games last year. All conference caliber player, Mikey. Is it Mickey or Mikey? What do you consider that? Rolinski? Bro, who's naming these people? But he's an all-conference caliber player at left guard. I like what I saw from him. I think he's on the second team preseason. I didn't know that when I wrote the notes, but he's a multi-year starter. He's a beast. Gallegos at center. Gallegos, dude is a pre-med major. Dude wants to be a doctor. I don't know if he's a real football player, but he's pretty smart, bro. He's a pre-med major. Sometimes I write crazy shit on these dudes. Spencer Webb, transfer coming in. North Carolina A&T transfer. Played in 8 games at an HBCU. No sacks allowed. That's not a big deal because it's a guard. Most defensive tackles aren't getting sacks. But did play at an HBCU, transferring in. Shout out to Spencer Webb. Hope it works out. And then Joshua Anderson did start some games last year. All in all, they're just kind of like an average team in the MAC on the offensive line. Hence the 4. Okay, nothing to really write home about. FAU. You guys know I'm excited about FAU going into this year. Obviously, Zach Kitley. First time being a head coach. I've always been a Zach Kitley guy. I've been talking about Zach Kitley being the top offensive coordinator in America for like 3 years. And then he finally got a head coaching job. That's pretty awesome. But you have an elite quarterback. There's no denying you have Caden Velkamp, elite quarterback, an average running back room, above average wide receiver room, below average tight ends, and then your offensive line's below average as well. So Vincent Fournette, now I will say this. Where am I looking? What is these? Who are these names? They changed it? Oh, wow. That's crazy, bro. I'm so upset right now. I'm so upset. They changed everything. Sanker's here, King is here, Advantage is here, Daughtry's here. So, for whatever reason, I had Fournette starting. I know that's not happening. And that's why the score is like this. I owe you a score change. I got to go watch tape on Scarly Jean. I can't just randomly do it. There's a metric and a bunch of stuff. Nonetheless, I'll talk about Vincent first. He's a Buford product. I remember him from high school, so I was excited to talk about him. He's a Bethune-Cookman transfer. Felt more like a depth guy. He only played in 11 games at Bethune-Cookman. He didn't start, so I don't know what that was, and I didn't like it. That's why the score was the way it was. Madden Sanker transferring in, 4-star recruit, South Paulding. Shout out to him. Another Georgia player, by the way. Louisville for 2 years. Didn't play. Transferred. Hasn't played at all, so we'll figure that out. Okay? King at center. King is a Northwestern in Miami. You guys know Northwestern. Shout out to Teddy Bridgewater getting suspended. Yeah, that product. He went there. He hasn't played at all. King hasn't played at all. He's just been on the bench. So I don't know what we're doing there. Alex, you're going to see all these guys come from really good schools. Alex is from IMG. He's a graduate. He started most of last season. He's a 14 preseason in the American. And then Daughtry Richardson, Miami Central, another great high school. He's 6'5", 320. Used to be at Florida State. He's a former 4-star transferred. He started several games last season. All in all, it's like a bunch of big-name guys with no real production in college, and I don't like that. They could be good. I don't know, but they're not going to be good. Like, I know they're not. I can tell you that right now. From looking at all the offensive linemen out there, it's not good. The only thing worse is FIU. FIU, whew, I don't know what they're doing. FIU's cooking, and they're not using Crisco, bruh. They're not doing it. FIU, offensive line group, Julius Pierce coming in. Is a transfer from Middle Tennessee State. He missed last season with an injury. He did have 8 starts at MTSU. He could be decent, man. I don't know what that's all about, but he could be because he did start at Middle Tennessee State at one point. But I wouldn't do this like a slam dunk or nothing. I'm not like that, okay? You see the backup over here, the other guy they brought in? I can't say his name. He's from one of those directional schools. I want to talk about this. Coming out of high school, he could have went. He had some offers, but he decided to walk on to Oklahoma State. 0 playing time at Oklahoma State. He's 6'4", 315. He's from Norman. So he's from Norman, Oklahoma, wants to go to Oklahoma State, walks on, nothing happens. And then he transfers to directional Oklahoma schools, and I wrote multiple of them. And then he ends up at Oklahoma Baptist. And he plays. And he plays at Oklahoma Baptist. And then randomly, he transfers back to the FBS to be a backup again. I don't understand. Maybe he came over here to just be in Florida and meet girls or something. But this is not a guy that wants to play football. Why are you walking on to Oklahoma State or coming back to the FBS when you're not an FBS caliber player? It's just embarrassing. I looked into all these guys' tape, and I'm just watching like, ugh, where's Buchanan? I don't know why I don't have Tripp on my stuff. Oh, I do have Tripp. I said Tripp's I haven't even talked to you about him. Tripp's an IMG grad, Miami transfer, 4-star. Great get for FIU. It is. It is what it is. Buchanan, returning starter, all-conference caliber. Oh, man, we got to change the score then. We got to change the score. Why do I have the score so low? Zaire, he missed most of 2023 with an injury. He started one throwaway game last season. He's a grown man, and they like grown men in the transfer portal. Just more developed than the freshmen coming in and things like that, so more power to him. Michael Cedeno, I wrote American Heritage High School product, Rice transfer. Started one game at Rice. He's 6'7", 315. And then they have Michelle at right tackle. Daniel Michel, 6'6", 328. Nothing to write home about were my notes on his film. Nothing to write home about. All in all, I'm going to leave it at 2.75. I am. I'm going to leave it at 2.75. Not excited about it. Let's get to a good team. Florida. Florida gets a perfect 10 from me. People have been talking about, I picked the wrong team. People have been talking about Florida the whole time. And it's just one of those situations where I know they're good, but I got to sit down and watch the tape anyways. And then I got to believe in it, right? So Austin Barber, redshirt senior, multi-year starter, freshman All-American, NFL caliber. Austin Barber will be an NFL draft pick. Obviously, playing left tackle, you're going to get drafted pretty high. He's first-team All-SEC preseason. You're first-team All-SEC preseason, you're an NFL draft pick. That's the way that works. So shout out to Austin Barber. Been starting since 2022, I think. He's incredible, dude. Good player. Good player. Notice there's no yellow for Florida on the offensive line. Like, they're not getting a bunch of transfers. They're good. They're good right where they're at. They love what they got. Returning everybody. We got Harris at left guard. Shout out to Najee Harris, returning starter from last season, 4 stars. Good player. Jake Slaughter. And this is where I think Jake Slaughter is the best center in America. So remember I was telling you the second best center is Connor Lew from Auburn. Third is Brails and all this stuff, right? Brailsford and all this. This is your number 1 center in America. Jake Slaughter, team captain, first team All-SEC, All-American, best center in America, period. Shout out to Jake Slaughter. Damian George Jr., North Shore product. He started his, he started last year, but he started his career at Alabama, if I remember correctly, former 4-star. So I'm just glad it worked out for him, that it kind of just came to fruition, whatever. And then you have the right tackle position for Bryce Lovett. Bryce Lovett is a 326-pound man. He's a freshman All-SEC, and he was also on the All-Bowl team. If you watch the bowl game, he played amazing. But he was playing some guard. So the thing is, he was playing guard. They're moving him out to right tackle. He's the only non-returning starter. So you got 4 returning starters, and Bryce Lovett can play. So they know he can play, and they say, yo, you're a guard. You're not going to start. Let's move you to tackle to get you on the field. We'll get our best 5 on the field. And that's what it looks like when a team understands how to get their best 5 on the field. That's awesome to have, okay? So barring injury or anything, that's a perfect score on the offensive line for Florida. Very good offensive line. Shout out to Jake Slaughter once again. And not to be outdone, Florida State's right behind them. Florida State's right behind them. You guys know I've been very critical of Florida State when I do my evaluations. I think their quarterback, Tommy Castellanos, I put him at a 6. Thomas Castellanos, for me, is a group of 5 elite quarterback, not a power 4 elite quarterback. Can't make certain throws. There's just things that he's not good at. He's not a good team player. You saw him quit on his team last year at Boston College. Once he was made the backup, he just quit. Instead of Grayson James, when he was made the backup, could you imagine when he quit? That would have been crazy. There's so many players on the bench right now. Could you imagine they just quit because they're on the bench? It's not, oh, Rico, you don't know, man. Coaching staff did him dirty. Shut up, you idiot. You don't know. I know. Every player that's been benched, it's the coach's fault. He did you dirty, bro. He broke a promise. Shut up. From one coach to a scrub. Now let's talk about Florida State. Florida State, they gotten perfect scores in the tight end room in the last video. Now they're getting perfect scores on the offensive line group. You see it's all yellow, though. So it comes with a caveat, and the caveat is you got to gel well. You do. You have to gel well. You have to figure it out. Will they figure it out? I will say this. UCF offensive coordinator, UCF head coach, offensive coordinator, Gus Malzahn, is the new offensive coordinator for Florida State. His offense is conducive to just kind of grinding you out and wearing you down. I want you to think of all the rushing attacks they've had at UCF over the last couple of years, back when he was coaching dual threat quarterbacks. It's just one of those situations where you just get a dual threat guy and then you just run people over. And I don't know if you guys know the difference between zone blocking and gap blocking. Let me explain. So, when you call plays as a running back or a coach, you might call plays like 23 blast, 33 blast, 33 blast, whatever that means, right? So, the numbers are an identifying a person on the offense. We used to do, the running back was a 2, the fullback was a 3, the quarterback was a 1. Or you could do a 1, 2, 3, whatever, however you want to do it, right? But it doesn't matter. Let's just say it's the running back. And if you call 26, for example, well, that would be a pitch because we're going to hit the 6 hole. And you got 2 is in between the center and the guard, 4 is the guard and the tackle, 6 is outside of the tackle, the tight end. So 26, 28, those will be pitches. We used to just call things like different names and stuff. And the quarterback would have to know if he's going to reverse pivot to hand it off, which means open up to the opposite side of where the play's going. It makes the linebackers go the wrong way. Very common in wing T offenses and shit like that. Anyways, so there's a lot of nuances to these numbers and what they mean. And so when you as an offensive lineman get down and you know that we're running through a certain hole, the 2 hole, the 4, the 6, or the 1, the 3, and the 5, odds go left, evens go right. When you know what hole you're going through and there's a lineman in that hole, what you can typically do is, we call it a check slide. You can down block that gap. So if I call it 24, we're going through the 4 hole. You can down block. And now we're not running through the 4. We're going to move over to the 6, wherever there's nobody at. So the quarterback will be at the line of scrimmage and look at the gap where we're supposed to run the play. If somebody's in that gap, then he says, check slide. It moves over 1 hole. Okay? Pretty simple stuff. Anyways, my point of all this is when you're trying to open up the holes to the number that you call, that's gap blocking, if you will. And that's dependent on your linemen to do down blocks and kickouts to create gaps in the offensive line, create running lanes. When you do zone blocking, it's not how it works. Zone blocking is dependent on your running back. Your running back has to find the holes based upon how the offensive line is moving as a unit. They're blocking an area. They're not blocking a specific hole. They're just kind of moving mass. And then you have to kind of set up your blocks and set up your stuff, almost like a wide receiver stemming routes and stemming DBs, kind of similar to that. And there's running backs that are better than others at it. And I want you to know that the reason I'm bringing all this up is UCF is really good at mixing it up, confusing the defense. And you'll think you're in a zone blocking scheme of some sort, and then they're going to pop a hole open and kick somebody out. And the inverse, right? You think a guy's coming down to kick you out and do stuff, but it's really just we're going to go with the flow of this push and this wave. It's really unique to watch, and it's just a little nuance that the typical fan, the average fan, doesn't understand. They'll hear it. Oh, it's zone blocking scheme. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, zone blocking to the right, zone running to the right. Like, they don't understand what they're even saying. It bugs me. So that being said, Florida State has the offensive line that's prepared to do everything. I really feel that way. Shout out to them. Herb Hand is the offensive line coach from UCF. Herb Hand is coming over. He had, I want to say, 9 different offensive line combos. Not here. It was Florida State. Florida State had 9 different offensive line combos last year. I wrote that down. Like, the starting lineup for Florida State, every game, it was like different. Every game. They're losing. They don't give a shit. They're just trying to figure something out. And it's people on borrowed time. You guys always think these coaches are so good at their jobs. These people are getting fired because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to evaluate talent. They don't know how to put players in position to be great. I talked about this all the time. Biff Poggi's fired right now because he had a 200-yard rusher on the bench. 4th string. Could you imagine the 4th string running back comes off the bench and rushes for 200 yards? And everybody goes, oh my God, he's so amazing. He was just waiting for his moment. No, the coach is so stupid. He's holding him back from being great. And that's exactly what happened at Florida State. And they fired people. And now you got Herb Hand coming in, and we're not going to see that many combinations. I hope not. I hope they find their 5 and they rock with it. I believe in the 5 they have. And I think they do too. The thing you don't see here is a bunch of transfers in the backup spots. You don't see a lot of yellow in the backup spots because you don't want to bring in multiple people that you said, you're going to be the starter, you're going to be the starter. No, bring in one guy and let him be the starter and let him go. Let him do his thing. I'll never forget when I transferred from one school to the next, and the coach was like, hey, Rico, I want you to play corner, but we might move you to free safety. And I was like, yo, man, where the fuck am I going to play, bro? Let me just focus. And then I remember I made a mistake in the game one time, and I couldn't focus on the scheme, down and distance. I couldn't focus on where the ball was, the hash, the route combos. I couldn't do anything I wanted to do because I was too busy looking at the sideline. Like, is coach mad at me? Am I going to get pulled? Am I going to get moved? Because I made a mistake. You don't want players to feel that way. And it's a very natural feeling when you're on the football field. Unique if you've never been there, but please understand what I'm talking about. Maybe you're dating a girl right now, and you're on the fence. She's on the fence with you. And the first mistake you make, she might be texting somebody else. You get insecure real quick. You can't even focus on being in the relationship and being with her and growing and being stronger because the whole time you're worried about who she's texting every time she looks at her phone. There's no better feeling than being in a positive relationship with real equity and real continuity, and you ain't got to worry about what she's looking at. You ain't got to worry about who she's looking at on the phone. How mad is she? She went to the other room. What is she doing? She's probably watching Netflix, bro. She mad at me right now? All she did was walk to the other side of the house. She didn't leave the house. She go try to find another spot. She ain't calling somebody. We're good. That's how it is with these players, man. They don't have any equity with their coaches. They just show up, and they better have it. They better find it. So let's talk about this. Sorry for the tangent. This will be the last thing I cover in this episode, and then we'll pick up another episode here because we went 2 hours already. Shout out to you guys. But let's talk about Gunnar Hansen. He's a Vandy transfer. One of the best left tackles out there, man. It's a great get for them. Gunnar Hansen, St. Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas coming back to Florida. Shout out to him. 6'5", 330. 35 games at Vandy. He started 35 games at Vandy. I think Vandy's going to miss him dearly. And that's an elite transfer to get. You start 35 games in the SEC, you're the real deal. Shout out to him. Adrian Medley, left guard, UCF transfer, coming over with his coaching staff. Known goods, knows the offense, had 19 starts at UCF, super experienced. I want you to think of R.J. Harvey and all the running he did. This man was a road grader for him. 6'5", 305, very good and experienced. Shout out to him. Luke Pettibone at center. He's already second-team All-Conference ACC. Like, what? How the hell did they make him second-team All-Conference ACC? Well, because he's been playing in the ACC the whole time. He's been at Wake Forest, 38 total games, 22 starts at Wake Forest. So they got the starting center from Wake Forest, starting guard from UCF, starting left tackle from Vandy. They found the 3 pieces they needed to address the holes on their starting offensive line. They're good to go. Now, we go to the right side, right guard. Only guy returning from last year is Richie Leonard. 3 starts last season before he injured himself. And but don't ever forget, he started 14 games at Florida before he ever came to Florida State. So when people talk to me like, Rico, you really think Florida State's going to have a good offensive line? Hey, Rico, I can't believe this, man. We had a terrible offensive line. We won 2 games. It's like, dude, stop talking about last year. Not a single one of these guys was on the offensive line last year. There's nobody that's to blame for what you saw on the offensive line last year. None of these guys. Whole new group. Now, they all got to gel. They got to figure it out. But it looks great. Micah Pettis from Ole Miss. Shout out to him. Ole Miss transfer. 29 starts at Ole Miss. That is a beast of a player. I'm pretty sure Florida State spent all their NIL on an offensive line group. I'm pretty sure that's where they spent all their money. Shout out to them. Pettis is already a third-team All-ACC preseason pick. This is a 10 on the offensive line. You have returning players with starting, like they're all seniors. They're all starting caliber guys. This is a perfect 10 for me. No doubt about it. Hey, shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I'm going to make it free. I'm not going to sell this one. But the other two parts I will be selling. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you get on Patreon and YouTube. Like I said, if you go to YouTube and you become a minion, you just become a minion. It's $1.99 a month. You can watch all the episodes. You can't get all the betting information, all that stuff. That's under a different tag, but all the episodes on the podcast are under there, okay? Become an MVP, you'll get the good stuff. If you go to Patreon, you get everything. Patreon's all one-stop shop for everything, and it's $25. Or you can buy them individually for like $3 or $4. I don't know. I don't set the prices. But Patreon, spot to be. Shout out to the MVPs. I hope you learned something about these offensive lines. Thank you for trusting me. Shout out to all our guys. We've been doing this. Shout out to the 250,000 people that are going to watch this. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.